I just want to take time out and let you know I love you for it. And I'll always be there. That's why. Can't you feel my love? Oh, girl, you just got to believe me now. You're the one for me. So baby, just take me in your arms and love me. Show me that you care for me. There's no better way I can love you. I promise I'll do. I love you. Girl, can you try to believe me now? Baby, oh, you're the one for me. So baby, just take me in your arms and love me, oh baby, and show me that you care for me. There's no better way I can love you. I promise I do. I love you. No, I promise I do. So baby, just take me in your arms and love me, oh baby, show me that you care for me. See, 'cause there's no better way I can love you, and I'll give you lots of love. What's up, everybody? Peace, 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 people. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you might be. This is For Black Righteous Folks Home, or for short, For Black. We're going to talk about Springfield being spotlit with having a gathering with a representative that just, what's his name? Vivid. Let me find him real quick, because he's an Indian guy. I can't pronounce his name without looking at the video. But he had this meeting with the people of Springfield, and a lot of information came out. His name is Vivit Ramswarmy. He held a town hall meeting with Springfield residents, and a lot of information was gathered in that town hall event that I want to go over a little bit later when more people come. But what's very surprising is the mayor of Springfield has a lot to gain with the Haitian population being sent there because he owns a lot of property, and he's renting out the properties to the Haitians. And there might be a conflict of interest about him owning all this property and not really caring about what's going on with the residents, how they're being affected. Some are made homeless or evicted and things of that nature. So I want to pull up this article to read to y'all about what has been discussed as of late with this mayor. And also I feel, and it's going to show why Harris is more concerned about the Haitians, being retaliated against because of the rumors of the cat. And I want to say something about the cat situation. I guess one resident had stated that her adult cat was missing, and it was discovered that the cat was found in the basement. So that rumor, I guess from that account, it's not been confirmed. So the reports of cats being eaten or dogs is not confirmation, but there is confirmation supposedly involving the geese. So that has not been unconfirmed. But what I want to show first is this Buckeye special report. It's been reported in the Buckeye Reporter, and it states that this renting apartments to Haitians is big business for Springfield mayor by the name of Rob Rue and others. Now, this Buckeye Reporter investigation has confirmed that Mayor Rob Rue of Springfield, Ohio, is renting out apartments in buildings that he owns to Haitian immigrants, a move that some local residents are calling a conflict of interest. The Haitian community in Springfield has gained national attention after former President Donald Trump's debate comments on September 10th, alleging that the Haitian immigrants are eating cats and dogs. However, locals argue that they're the ones being put through the meat grinder due to strained local economy from the influx of Haitian immigrants that now comprises roughly 25% of the population in Springfield. A few blocks away from Little and Rue Funeral Home, also owned by Rue, a 37-year-old man who introduced himself as Works lives in an apartment on an estate worth an estimated $1.3 million. Works told Buckeye Reporter that he and other Haitian immigrants reside in properties owned by Rue. For me, it is not a bad city, said Works. I have 1 year and 2 months in Springfield. However, he added that the Haitian community has been upset by Trump's allegations. Some people are scared to go out after Trump's comments, Works said. Works cut the conversation short when he was picked up by his ride to work. According to public records, Rue owns several rental properties in Springfield through his company Littleton Properties of Springfield, LLC. In addition to being the mayor, Rue is the president and general manager of Littleton and Rue Funeral Home. Rue became a mayor of Springfield in 2023 and previously served as city commissioner and assistant mayor, and is actively involved in local community boards. Several residents have expressed disappointments with Rue's leadership, suspecting He may have ulterior motives, as he has overseen a significant influx of Haitian immigrants over the past 2 years. Approximately 20,000 immigrants from Haiti have been brought into the community, with rumors suggesting that another 10,000 may arrive. The strain on the local economy, public safety, school system has made him a target for criticism, concerns, and explaining, I would add, that he needs to do. Because him being supposedly concerned about the Haitians, he's more concerned about the money, perhaps, that he's getting from renting out his properties to the Haitians. Now, going on to read, concerns about Roux profiting from the immigration crisis have led some to call for his recusal from city matters related to the community. If President Roux is renting out his properties to illegals, the public should know he should recuse himself from any vote on the commission because he directly benefits financially from any federal funds received to support the illegals, the Futurist X account said last week. Residents of Springfield have noted they have been kicked out of their apartments to make room for Haitian immigrants. Now, I want to add, I had a commenter come to one of my videos claiming that I'm looking for a sponsorship or sponsor. I'm not looking for anything. I'm just looking to reveal the truth to my community, because my community is more wrapped up in gossip, beefs, and celebrity news. I want somebody and other people to be inspired to also do these types of videos, talking more about what is happening to our cities and states and these different things that are affecting us directly or indirectly by the migrant crisis, because again, our votes matter this upcoming election. And I really am an advocate for homelessness, and also the Black community and Americans overall. And I feel like there are people that's expecting us just to be Democrats no matter who, no matter what circumstances, and that we're not supposed to look at other things to consider. And I'm bringing out these other things to consider. So I hope people would support me more by liking the video, sharing the video, subscribing to my channel to give it an option for people to find and be able to research so that they will know other things going on other than the beefs and gossip and celebrity news. I'm over those types of things. Anyways, continuing on to read, they've been raising the rent a lot. A 16-year-old Sapphire Flores told Buckeye Reporter, sitting on the front porch of Flores's grandparents' home, only a few doors down from a home owned by mega landlord George 10-year-old Kyrie Davis said he and his family were displaced by Haitians. Our landlord kicked us out so that they can move some of the Haitians in. So that's it has to be causing a lot of tension for these types of things to be occurring. And the mayor has a lot of explaining to do, as I stated before. Now, sitting on a bench near Springfield's municipal building in downtown, residents Bill Mungan, Jeff Close, and Close's wife, Lori, said there is a growing movement to replace local politicians like Roux. Lifelong residents such as Monaghan, 62, noted that rental prices for Haitian immigrants are more profitable because landlords can charge a per person fee. Monaghan, a former journalist, helps manage a Facebook page called Stop the Influx into Springfield, Ohio. The town has been flooded with migrants, and it has caused a shortage of housing, has caused a huge increase in rental prices. Monaghan said it pushes people out of their homes so that landlords can replace it with people so that they could basically charge by the cot. instead of by the unit. That sounds like slavery to me. Just thinking about that. That's a slave move right there. A cot. Monaghan said the lack of housing is causing real issues. The housing market is just tight, he said. People can't, let alone afford housing. You can't find any housing in this town. Monaghan said the situation is being exploited by certain individuals who are turning a profit. You got this George 10 guy from First Diversity who now you live in his house, drives you to work. He takes a cut of your pay. It's just like a modern day slave operation, he said. Next door to 10's First Diversity offices are a general store geared towards the Haitian population as well as Haitian religious and community center. According to the Ohio Secretary of State, 10 owns a series of businesses, including Yankee Cleanings LLC, 10 Enterprises LLC, Emergent Enterprises LLC, 10 More Investments LLC, First Diversity New York LLC, and Stonehouse Kitchen and Cabinets LLC. Through 10 Enterprises LLC, he owns at least 42 buildings in Springfield. He runs these temp agencies, brings in migrant workers, recruits them at the border, or probably with all of these Haitians, Monaghan says. They're probably flying in straight from Haiti with the TPS program, temporary protective status. So yeah, he's kind of one of the leading slumlords, slave masters, or whatever you want to call the guys in this operation, quote, end quote. Monaghan said the entire immigration operation in Springfield reeks of corruption. They are doing it through this weird public-private partnerships, he said. And it just seems like there's a lot of opportunity to launder money this way instead of having a centralized location where everything is being handled by one organization in the country. Instead, the city is doing one thing, the county is doing something else. Catholic Social Services does something else. It's just all a tremendous waste of money. And it's, I guess, it's so obvious that it's got to be intentional, quote, end quote. Close, a 49-year-old forklift operator, said he feels the push to bring Haitians to Springfield is driven by greed on behalf of the ruling class. At 22.7% of the population, the poverty rate in Springfield is far higher than the nation's rate of 11.5%. Meanwhile, wages have not gone up for existing Springfield residents who are now forced to compete for housing. You got landlords right now that's kicking the tenants out, Close said. They say, look here, we're raising rent up to $1,500 a month. They say, I can't afford it. You can't afford it. There's the door. We'll bring somebody else in. And it's all about the mighty dollar. Here you just have our governor on television just the other day talking about it. We kicked out our homeless, get rid of the homeless shelters. We don't help our vets anymore. They need help. She got our vets out here. You have the homeless people out here now with that needs help. Close said state level politicians like Governor Mike DeWine are to blame as well. They don't have funds for it, they said, but yet all of a sudden, DeWine brings to me $2.5 million, Close said. He pulls it out of his rear end or whatever he did, he said. This is going to take care of the Haitian population. It's just ridiculous. Close added that the problem is the politicians, not the Haitians. They're not looking out for us, he said, of leadership. They're looking out for the immigrants. And I have nothing, I have nothing them. They're getting a bad rap as well. I have nothing. I don't know why it says that. But anyways, meanwhile, he said the elite class in the city is cashing in. It's just ridiculous. And it's all about the mighty dollar, Close said. When you come right down to the bottom line, it's about the money. That's what everybody's out for. He said others have said when they bring their concerns about issues such as increased traffic accidents and public safety impacts, residents have been met with the deaf ears. Monaghan said that anyone who speaks against the political class is disrespected. If you raise a concern, they're clever in not calling you a racist to insinuate they're clever in not calling you a racist, insinuate that your issues are racially motivated, he said. Close agreed with that analysis. Now, that's just one thing. Anytime you try to say something about it, they say, oh, yeah, you're a racist. And that race doesn't have to do with any of this, he said. Like you talked about a moment ago about the housing, how stuff is going from 400 to 500 for now, and you're paying double, triple that for the same place, and you're talking about rundown shacks. Monaghan said he believes the next municipal elections will bring changes in the ballot box. So, as you heard, the mayor, another tent guy, and others have a lot to gain by bringing in the Haitians, even though it's overly straining the economy there in Springfield. So the people have a real good reason other than just eating supposed rumored cats and dogs. They have a legitimate cause for reasons to speak out about what they're feeling and why they're having an issue with having the Haitians there. But to speak out, such as I'm a Black woman, for those that don't know, and I don't believe that I am a racist. I can't be. I don't have power. But even insinuating that it's an issue gets the you hate yourself, you're against Black people, you're helping out the racist Trump and all this type of rhetoric that people might be believing in. But I'm going to show you what I'm into and why, so that this clears the air for those that are confused, because I'm not confused, and I hope that you guys won't be confused either. There are homeless issues plaguing our communities. Let me find the video. And there are people that are speaking out that are homeless, that's letting it be known their distaste for what they're witnessing about how the immigrants are being chosen over them. Okay, let me find this video. Where'd you go? If you guys could, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. This video was just... Okay. Before I go to that, because I can't seem to find it offhand, let me play you this first. All videos that I will show will be under 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976 for fair use. And I'm not trying to impose or trying to have Islamic phobic anything, rhetoric, anything like that. I'm just showcasing how the border crisis, along with the migrant crisis, is really ratcheting up. And there are a lot of information there's a lot of information coming out that is showcasing, for instance, Harris or Kamala Harris is not being very truthful about her intentions for why the borders are such a crisis right now. But I hope that this video will clear up why all of them are in the same boat with wanting to keep this border crisis and this migrant crisis escalating, because again, they're being benefited behind this, but the confusion and the chaos and the consequence is being hand delivered to the residents. So let's look at this first video, and I'm gonna look for that other video coming up.
Rob Kaufman joins us now. Rob, thanks for being with us. So you've got this school. We've seen the pictures of the building, by the way. Beautiful school, 1895, I believe it was built. And tell me about the plans they tried to put in place to bring in migrants to shelter in the school.
Yeah, so there was a plan by an LLC who came and approached our local government. In Pennsylvania, land use is a municipal issue. So our municipal leaders were approached by this LLC that appears to work with the federal government, and they intended to house hundreds of migrants, termed in the letter refugees, in these old buildings. It's a campus of over 150 acres and 70 buildings right in the middle of our community, our township, and really something that has historical significance as well. And so fortunately, our township supervisors have handled it well at this point, and they have said it's not permitted in our zoning and our land use, but this is the kind of thing they would like to do it under the radar. This time we found out about it.
Well, let's put it into context. How big is your town, this township, this rural area of Pennsylvania?
So the township that this would be sited in is about 18,000 people. The overarching area called Chambersburg, which includes about 4 municipalities and a few more, is about 70,000
Okay.
people.
Either way, small community, 18 or 70,000. And then hundreds of migrants. Any idea where they would have come from?
No, it was very vague. We're still learning more information, getting more information from folks on the federal level. We've been working closely with Congressman John Joyce, who is our representative in Washington, D.C., just trying to figure out what happens in these scenarios. So we have very few details, which I think is what they like. Right. That's what they would like to do. You know, towns don't find out about it until they're embroiled, usually in the controversy and the mess that it's created.
And then let's talk about really quickly the logistics of how this happens. I know you said it's an LLC and it was in partnership, which is a form of a corporation. I'm assuming it's some type of nonprofit in partnership with the federal government to bring these in, and I can tell no real details, and I would assume no coordination with the local community.
Correct. Yes, there was very little communication or any coordination. Simply a vague request from this LLC. I believe it was USA Upstar, something of that nature. And it is owned by another LLC that we don't know or believe there's any affiliation, but it's something that communities need to be hyper aware of in this environment across our country. Because if you don't want to end up like Springfield, Ohio, or Aurora, Colorado, or a place like that, you've got to be vigilant in protecting what you have in your communities across this land.
And I think that's the overarching point, is that whether or not it's your township or Springfield, Ohio, this is happening and can happen in small towns all across America who ought to have a say in their own community. We appreciate you being with us this morning and helping us understand this issue. Thank you so much.
So if it isn't housing, it's the schools or other buildings that they're trying to use for the migrants. They're just really choosing them over the residents. It's very unfortunate. And I'm trying to find this video real quick because it really showcased homeless people. Okay, I found it. Thank God. All right. This really is telling the truth about what homeless people are seeing out on the street and how it's affecting their American dream, and how it's really off-putting as a resident, as an American, not having these policies and these things that the politicians are doing without any consideration or concern for the residents there. So let's look at this video. It's really very insightful. And what I would say is that, again, I am an advocate for Americans first. I am an advocate for homelessness. There is too much homelessness that has not been addressed in America for a long time. And to bring in the migrants over the homeless people is very disgraceful, especially the vets. Let's listen.
This is Boston, one of the most liberal cities in America, famous for its history and now its homelessness. They now rank second for the city with the worst homelessness, just behind New York City. The odds show the election as a dead heat, but what about the people who don't influence the odds but still vote? Since Boston is also my hometown, I hit the streets looking for answers. What's really going on, and are homeless people voting for Trump or Harris? Do you want Trump or Harris to win this
I
election?
don't want nothing to do with Trump. He would have stopped all this crap with the immigrants.
Yeah.
Because honestly, because it's to help the immigrants, they're not doing that for us. Because of it, I get a lawsuit now with housing. I signed an agreement with them, and they still bitching me over some shit they shouldn't have bitched me over. Now I have a lawsuit with them. And I found out they're coming up here, they're getting housing, they can stay in hotels. It's okay for Americans to be homeless, but it's not okay for immigrants to be homeless. That's why they're doing that.
So despite that, so you don't want Trump even though he wants...
I want Trump to fix this, and I would like to get him back, because I know he'll fix this.
Okay, so...
He was trying to stop this from happening,
Right.
but then he got out of office and all the crap that happened with him. The stuff that he's done, am I happy with the stuff that he's done?
Okay.
But what I understand is that Trump would have put it. He was trying to put a stop to all this.
Sure. Okay, so you don't like him as a person, but
No,
you want him to
but I
come back.
want him to do something about this.
Yeah, got it. Do you guys want the same thing?
Yeah. We want Trump to do that about this immigrant thing.
Are you going to vote on November 5th?
Yes.
Yeah? Cool. Like,
I don't normally would vote for Trump.
Yeah.
When he was running with Hillary, I didn't vote for her either.
Yeah.
But now I will try to help with Trump
Yeah.
because he will put a stop to all this.
Got it. How long have you been out here?
For a while now.
Can you tell me?
And they're not helping anybody here.
Yeah.
They're not giving us housing. They're not helping nobody here. They're not putting us in hotels. But they're putting all the immigrants in hotels. They're giving them all our Section 8 not housing. You're not doing nothing for Americans now.
Yeah.
You're only helping other countries. I don't mind helping other countries, helping people. But you're forgetting about your country. I know a man that's in his 80s. He was in the veteran shelter up here. They kicked him out because they brought in a whole bunch of immigrants.
Okay.
They kicked that poor old man out.
Like I said, it is not American first. They kicked out an elderly man also that was in a wheelchair. I think she might have said that, but it was another case that I don't know if it's the same case, but kicked him out. He was a vet. He was also in a wheelchair, gave him just a few days to get out and replaced by the migrants. And she's telling a story too. I don't know if it's the same story or not that she's telling, but I do recall something like that before. And I don't know if she's speaking about the same gentleman or not. But the point is that they are choosing immigrants on purpose versus Americans last. And that is the sentiment of the Democrats. That's the sentiment of what is going on in this country right now. And this is why we need to consider and really think long and hard about why we need to vote for Trump, because he's the only one that's putting American first in this election cycle. Let's go.
Streets homeless. And my son brought him to Pine Street to get him the help that he needed.
Wow.
And he's a veteran.
Wow.
Isn't that sad? You know what's the sad part, too? A lot of your veterans that go and fight for this country, they come back, they're homeless. Why is that? They fought for the country. They shouldn't be homeless. Right? It's wrong. They need to help America. Stop with the immigrants and help America.
Trump or Harris to win?
Trump,
Why you want Trump?
because he'll do stuff. He'll get done. And he'll change everything that got changed when he was in.
What do you feel like Harris is doing wrong? How is life different under her?
She ain't doing nothing. Where's she been the past 4 years? Out once in a while, once every 7 to 8 months. Out doing like some gathering or something. What she thinks she's gonna do? She's gonna listen to her husband. Her husband's probably gonna tell her shit. But all this immigrant, like, stuff's being taken away from us, especially me, my situation, homeless. Where's my care? Immigrants and immigrants and minorities coming in from other countries. They're getting everything. Oh, we'll get you an apartment. Oh, we'll get you a car. Oh, here's some free money. Where's mine? Why am I in this situation? I go and try and get it. I can't get it. But they can.
Why do you think they're doing this? Like, why do you think this is happening?
I don't know. Trump was wanting to build the wall. Should have built it. Straight out, yeah, it's halfway built. It's going to take them years to build it. But they're not going to stop the immigrants and the migrators coming into this country. Look at here in Boston. They let 300 to 600 migrants come into the city. That they found them a hotel that they emptied out just for them. Oh, okay, so the hotel's losing out on money because they're letting migrants in. But yet a homeless person can't go there to stay at night for free. Really? That's wrong. We're trillions of dollars in debt. Stop fucking giving bombs and fucking, what do you call it? Nothing against Ukrainians, nothing against the other countries that we're helping. But we need fucking help first. Isn't it like we the people or us the country? Like, we're not united. We're not a fucking country anymore. It's throw money, help everybody else out, and fuck the normal American that were born and raised in this country. And I'm not prejudiced or racial, straight out. But we're the minority now. Go away.
Remember this guy, because later in this video, he's going to expose one of the craziest things going on in the country, and it involves McDonald's.
This is an interesting sign you got here, sir. Kamala Harris has the personality of a genital wart. Kamala Harris is as popular as getting herpes. Sir, I think I know the answer to this, but are you voting for Trump or Harris?
Oh, I'm voting for Trump.
Okay, tell me why you're voting for Trump.
When Trump was president, I had money. I didn't have to be out here doing this. Harris and Biden are strangling this country with their inflation, illegal immigration, the murders of our young women, rapes and murders of our young women. You scumbags. You effing morons. Kamala Harris, you're done. You ain't getting your free ride is over. Oh.
Sir, what did Trump do for you? How was he putting money in your pocket?
Inflation was down to the lowest level in over 50 years. 1.4%. Everything was cheap. Today, everything's through the roof. $7 for bread, $6 for half a gallon of milk. You know?
What did you do for work?
Me? I was a building wrecker.
Builder?
Building wrecker.
Building wrecker, okay.
I ripped up boilers, took down smokestacks, you name it. I gathered it, I tore it down by hand.
So tell me, do now they don't have the money to wreck things? They just leave them the way they are? Is that what
They
happens?
don't, they try to restore them.
Oh, they try to restore. Is it cheaper to restore it?
Yeah, oh yeah. Tearing it down, it's starting over, yeah. It's better to restore.
So tell me, how long have you been out here?
I've been out here for 7 years.
7 years?
Yeah.
But under Trump, you were working.
No, I wasn't. No, I was still, I only had one leg under Trump. So,
Yeah.
now I got none. Under Biden,
Thank you, sir.
cost me a leg to friggin' live there 3.5.
And this is so sad. This is so sad. But the homeless people know where they were getting their bread and butter from. It was not from the Biden Harris administration. It was from the Trump's administration. We got to really examine facts on the ground. That's without emotion. I understand that Trump is causing people to get triggered because of what he does sometimes and what he says sometimes, but ultimately he does handle serious situations such as the inflation, the border, the economy. And they know it. I know it. And this is why I'm in support of Trump. Let's go.
Yes.
That's a quick question, real quick. Can you tell me, are you for Trump or Harris?
Either? Oh, tell me. Tell me why.
Well, first of all, Trump is just, I hate Trump.
Okay.
That's just, that's out the window.
Why do you hate Trump?
Because what he did, this whole thing is basically his fault.
Can you tell me what's his fault?
His whole trying to make America great again, it was great. Should have just left it alone. Everybody was getting along until this, till COVID and all that. Yeah, this whole COVID.
COVID, Trump didn't cause. So, I mean, he's thinking off of emotion. You can't blame Trump for COVID. Nobody could foresee that epidemic happening. So, in my opinion, he is emotional and he's not really thinking clearly, or maybe he was doing drugs or something to make his mind a little bit shaky and scatterbrained. Again, Trump is not to be blamed for the COVID. The person that produced COVID should be blamed. Okay, let's go.
Have you felt like government resources change for you when the president changes at all?
No, actually, because right now I'm supposed to be receiving SSI. It's been 5 years and I'm still not getting nothing. And I had a stroke in 2019. I cannot work. It's impossible for me to work. But they won't give me my money.
Well,
Yeah, this whole government sucks.
so did you get health care when you had a stroke? Did you go to the hospital?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you pay a hospital bill?
No. Well, I don't pay anyway.
Do you want Trump or Harris to win the election?
Trump!
Oh, why Trump?
Because Trump is honest about the way government works. And he is honest about how he feels about people. I like honesty.
As I said, I'd rather have somebody that's blunt, bold, all in your face with the truth versus someone sneaky, concealing, and sliding and hiding like Kamala does. That is why I am knowing that Trump is meaning what he says more than not. More than what Kamala is saying and calling herself doing. In fact, speaking about Kamala, she did an interview with Oprah Winfrey yesterday. I watched it. I wasn't impressed. It just seemed like it was a fixed show by Oprah just to cause, her influence to influence. But maybe I'll show a clip of that a little bit later, because we're going to go now in a little bit to the town hall meeting in Springfield that got really a lot of questions about the mayor and how they're regulating over there in Springfield. But let's continue with why the homeless people or disabled people, I think he's disabled, is choosing Trump over Harris. And they have sound arguments on what they're saying. I just hope that other people that are distracted with this celebrity gossip, with sports, with other things that's not important, will take a look at my videos and would I hope that you guys would share and like and show support. Let's go.
For me, Trump's everything. Everything. Have a good day.
Can you tell me how did Trump impact your life when he was in office in 2016?
No, I'm not talking about his policies. I don't care about Trump's policies. I want somebody in office who is truthful about what they think. I don't like people who lie. If he doesn't like something, he says it. That's why I would vote for him, because he's honest. I like honesty.
So did you read that paper and figure out that he was telling the truth and she wasn't?
All I'm saying is this: if you hate me, I want to know it.
We'll go back to that a little bit later. I think it's time now to go to the town hall meeting. Again, it was an interesting town hall. I'm not going to look at the whole entire thing, but I want you guys to get a clue on what the people are saying, the residents are saying overall. They were crying out to, I'm not sure who this guy is. I've seen him before. I don't know if he's a senator or something like that, but hold on, let me find this video. But if you guys could do me a favor, I know that I don't know what it is. People are watching me, but they're not liking the videos. I can't think, I hope to goodness that most of you guys that are watching me are not Democrats. My God, because that would really be a crying shame. His name was Vivek Ramaswamy. He held this town hall meeting in Springfield. I'm gonna play a little bit of that so that you guys can hear what the people were revealing and showcasing why the frustrations are all over the place. So let's get to the first person that I want to show. Let me get to his question as he asked the question, about to ask the question. Hold on. Okay. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
We'll come back at the end. Thank you, brother. Thank you. I appreciate you too. No, I appreciate you bringing it up. Sir, go right here and then we'll come right here. Thank you.
Okay. Springfield's got a lot of great history. I believe it's this very building where Orville and Wilbur writing to see their attorney for a patent for the airplane. We have a lot of great history in this town, and I've been a lifelong citizen here for 59 years, and I have my trucks loaded. The last of my things outside. When I was a little kid, I don't want to sound like a speech. I'm going to try to make it as quick as I possibly can. I see these infomercials on television about these little bony Haitian kids with the bloated stomachs and the flies flying all over them, and I would cry myself to sleep growing up. I was traumatized by that. It mortified me. I was so proud of my family. It's something that nobody in this room knows about. Just a little piece of the great history of the city of Springfield. I'm related to all of the well drilling companies in the 1970s, the well drilling companies of Springfield, Clark County. I'm related to all of those people, pretty much. I think all of those companies. And they, on their own dime, went to Haiti on their own dime and drilled the water wells that gave them fresh water to drink. And that came from Springfield, Ohio. And I don't think anybody knows it. It's just a little piece of history I'm proud of. Nobody would know that. We got a whole movie of it, but nobody's ever talked about it. But my family's dealing with some things. My sister got hit, somebody went left the center with no license and no insurance on my birthday a year ago. And so now with the taxpayers are in it now for about $400,000, and she's had multiple surgeries and still can't walk. She didn't get to be there and hold her babies, her grandbabies that were all being born, things like that. And I have my issues with my health issues is preventing me from working, and so you try to get into a hospital that's 100% capacity, and I hear that it's half, that a third, that one whole wing of it's HIV patients. Don't know, but you try to get your testing done, your MRIs, your X-rays. You try to get your EMGs. I scheduled an EMG on June 11th. I was still employed at that time. They was very patient with me, but I just got my EMG just the other day. And so we're dealing with just my own family and some of the things that we're dealing with. It's something that's near and dear to my heart is the motherless kittens in the alleys of Springfield. Where's the mothers? Okay, there's the animal thing. If we can't care for the least of these and kittens, I don't think it's something for the Kamala should be laughing about.
I agree with you. Thank you, my man. What's your name? Kevin. Thank you. Okay, give this man a round of applause for his love of the history of this city. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hello, thanks for being here. We really appreciate it. I'm with Moms for Liberty in Madison County, but our youngest daughter does go to school here in Clark County. One of the questions that really I want to focus on are what is the plan for us to safeguard the educational system here in Clark County, mainly Springfield City Schools, for our children? Because as we know, our educational system is failing our kids. It is, our taxpayer dollars are always being used against you, just in case you weren't aware of that. Property taxes that are being paid are going to these school districts who are wasting money. They're not educating, they're indoctrinating. We now have an influx of people coming into these schools that the focus is on them because they have not assimilated, they do not know the culture, they do not know the language. What is happening to our kids is not fair. So what can we do to safeguard our American citizens, children, so that they are not sitting in class not being engaged for 8 hours a day?
And that's one of the points that I wanted to say. The kids going to the schools that have to deal with people that don't know how to speak English is holding up the abilities for the children to be able to learn. I thought about that a while ago. How would that work with having them go to the school and they can't speak English, and how far that would make it harder for the people that is a part of the community already to be able to learn anything for real, because of being interrupted, because of trying to get the attention to the Haitians or other immigrants that can't speak English. I would think that would be very difficult for the children to have to deal with.
As from a dad to a mom, thank you for that. I'll give you a couple of pragmatic answers. One is actually the schools are strained for dollars. Public schools are. I got a good place to find them, actually. So there's about $80 billion spent by this behemoth thing called the U.S. Department of Education. First step is shut that down and send the money back to the people of this country. That would actually work pretty well. The second thing is, so I gave you, and it's one of the things I want to try to develop over today. It's not something I'm preaching at you, but I want to hear from you and tell me what you think of it. In developing a sensible immigration policy for this country, especially now as it affects our schools. So I gave you one principle earlier, which is that, and this is legal immigration. The easy stuff is, okay, if you're in this country illegally, send you back, build the wall, use the military, use aquatic barriers. That's the easy stuff, all right? To get that done, that goes without saying. But on the hard stuff, if you're going to depend on the welfare state, you don't get in. Here's one more, too. I believe that you should be able to speak the language of the United States of America, English, in order to enter. And as it relates to schools, that burden alone, it's not going to fix all of the problems that you just asked about, but that alone is actually going to go a long distance in relieving the pressure on a lot of schools, especially public schools, when it comes to language as a basic barrier. Versus, there's actually many more people who do want to come to the United States of America than can, who have skill sets, don't depend on the welfare state, and know English. If you're going to pick the limited number, you may as well pick the ones that are most likely to be able to assimilate, most likely to be able to be participants in economic action, and those who are able to actually integrate their kids into the schools. That would be a suggestion I'd offer, and you guys let me know what you think. But thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. A couple months I'll be a resident of Springfield, Clark County for 61 years. If our city council and everybody wants to be a part of the solution, just sitting right there by the door, I haven't seen a single one of them come in here.
All are welcome. Well, thank you. And I know that there were all kinds of one thing I will own. This rests on me. So on Saturday night, I was having dinner with my wife and a couple of friends. We were talking about what was happening in Springfield. It felt silly for me not to be here. I got on my phone. I put out a tweet. I said, I'm going to Springfield. Thursday was the first day I could be free to get here. I want to thank Jim Legos because I think it was very difficult to find a spot to host this. So he did a great job of volunteering this space for us. But I under-anticipated. There's 2,000 RSVP space, 350 people. So to the extent somebody couldn't get in, in a town of 60 to 70,000 people, that says a lot. But regardless, if people couldn't get in, that's on me.
Mr. Ramaswamy, thanks for coming tonight. Definitely appreciate it. I've been a lifelong resident of Springfield for 46 of my 50 years. 4 of those were spent in the U.S. Navy. So I know the city very well. So prior to the arrival of our immigrants, we were suffering from, as many American cities have, and we continue to suffer with the drug epidemic and homelessness, among other issues that's plaguing our city and the country. And now with having an additional 15 to 20,000 new residents in such a brief period, our already already burdened sectors of government, private and public resources are now critically overwhelmed. I voted for President Trump in 2016, 2020, and I will vote again on November 5th.
Got a defective 2019 to 2024 Chevy? If you're
President Trump vowed to do, quote, large deportations from Springfield, Ohio. But like he said earlier, most, if not nearly all, of the immigrants here are here legally. So the notion of deporting all of them and then everything will be okay is not based in reality. So my question to you is this: what realistic plans can you, President Trump, and Congress produce for Springfield and cities like Springfield to be able to adapt and thrive for all of us, both citizens and immigrants?
I appreciate your thoughtful question. I don't agree with 100% of it, but I appreciate you identifying who you're voting for, but still are able to ask tough questions. I like that. So I'll say something here. First of all, is the most important part of your question is we can fall into a trap, and I don't want to see us fall into this. Is there are real problems that we need to address in this country that actually have nothing to do with immigration as well. And I think that we can sweep a lot of that under the rug. Those are failures of our elected and increasingly unelected leaders of the country that we got to address by way of economic growth in this country, wage stagnation in this country. You think about even workforce training and preparedness for the changing economy, our reliance on China for our modern way of life. These are big issues even outside of the specific immigration and mass migration issues. So part of your point is we can't sweep all that under the rug and just blame it on immigrants. I agree with you, actually. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. How are we going to achieve mass deportations? Well, first of all, you got anybody who's committed a crime in this country, anybody who is actually currently detained. That's an easy set of deportations right out the gate. You're talking about millions of people that fit those two categories together. That alone would be the largest mass deportation in American history. The next thing you got to do is, it's like you got a clogged drain, right? What do? First thing you do is you turn off the faucet. You don't try to clean the drain while you leave the faucet on. Use our military to secure the border. Use the National Guard if necessary. Aquatic barriers in the Rio Grande. And yes, complete the construction of the wall, which is not a racist or xenophobic action. And so the way I think about it is, let's just talk about some principles we can agree on. All right, maybe if I was writing this down, we'll be a little more precise, but I'll give it to you kind of off the top here. Think about it like your body, right? Violation of your consent. A nation's body is its land. No migration without consent, number one. Number two, consent should only be granted to migrants who benefit the United States of America. And number three is, those who enter without consent shall be removed. And if anybody wants to disagree with me on that, that's fine, we can debate that. But I haven't met an American who actually disagrees with those three principles. So if we all agree on it, the country that put a man on the moon can get this job done. It's just a question of actually having the will to do it. Thank you. Thank you.
Now, this guy's name again is Vivek Ramaswamy. He is an American entrepreneur. He founded a Rovant Sciences, a pharmaceutical company, in 2014. In February of 2023, he declared his candidacy for Republican Party nomination for the United States presidential election. He suspended his campaign in January of 2024 when he became fourth in the Iowa caucuses. So he's just kind of like getting the vibration of what's going on in the city. He doesn't really have the power or say to do too much, but he can really give the information or get the information that is not known or unearthed yet. And that's what he's doing for us to see what this city is going through and what, you know, the residents are really feeling like in real time. Let's go.
Hello. I saw an article, I think it was Epic Times, where they were talking about there are 5 companies who want these Haitians here to be workers because they need the manpower. And I don't know how many of you know, I found this out accidentally. There is a massive massive Amazon fulfillment center being built down, I think, at the south end of South Charleston. I'm sure a lot of these people are being brought in for that as well. If these companies, these big companies, need these people, why are they not paying their way to get them here and house them? Especially Bezos, he's got plenty of money. If he needs those people, we've got some greedy landlords putting out long-term renters who are going to, a lot of them end up on the streets. They're getting rich, putting 20 migrants in a house. They're getting $200 per migrant in these houses, and the long-term renters that pay $700 to $900 are out on the street. How do we stop that?
Yeah, so it's a good question. I mean, I think a lot of this comes from, I think, special currying in favor to industries that manage to lobby for advantages to them. One of the things is, even in the legal immigration system, people don't talk about this. Even actually the immigrants who are left holding the bag. So the H-1B system, for example, you can't even switch companies. You're attached to just the company that brought you. You know who lobbied for that? The very companies who got the advantage from the law in the first place. So I think this is one of those cases where, and here I've heard tales of the ways in which these companies are actually subsidized particularly. I want to get to the bottom of those facts. But if we end lobbying in the federal government, I think that actually solves half of this problem. To say if you've served in Congress or served in the Senate or served as a bureaucrat, for at least 10 years you can't lobby that same government, half of this melts away right there. And so fix the corruption. Half the problem is that government's actually responsive to the people of this country. Again, thank you for that question. I appreciate it. Thank you. We can actually stand here so I can face these people too. That sounds good. I was getting my back to them the whole time.
And thanks for coming, Mr. Ramaswamy, and much respect too for the climate here. Wasn't exactly welcoming. I was a little concerned about the topic of this conversation, the dialogue for unity, because I think one thing we should be united on, there simply are too many mass migrants here in this town, and they're too richly subsidized. It's pushing people out of their homes. It's pushing people out of jobs. I know there's employers that say they need the employees. Amazon's just fired hundreds of people to replace them with migrant workers. So we need less migrants in this town. We can't absorb them. We need to take some of that money that's being given to them and give that to people in the community who've been harmed by this. Maybe give some money. Maybe give some. Let finish. Yeah, and maybe give some money to local businesses so that they can upgrade their equipment rather than hire low-wage, no-skilled migrants. Let's upgrade their equipment. Maybe give some grants to the tech schools so that we have kids qualified to run modern equipment.
Let me ask you a question, because I said my objective here is also to inform my own views, not reading what I need in the newspaper, but hearing from our fellow citizens. What do you believe should be the criteria for the kinds of immigrants or migrants that Springfield should want to keep versus the criteria for Springfield to want to export, expel, or not allow in the future? What would be your perspective on it?
I mean, if it was up to me, we'd start all over. We'd send them away and start all over because they were brought in without our consent. You know, some people were getting rich off of it, but it's harmed the rest of us. If there are people who are working and these are honest jobs, fine. If they're here, just again, they're taking up Social Security. 20,000 people here, and from our former state senator said that they are getting an average of $600 to $1,600 a month in Social Security. So to say it's an average of 1,000 and say there's truly only 20,000 a year, that's $20 million a month being spent in one county just to subsidize people, and that's driving other people out of their homes. We could take that money. I said, give it grants to businesses so they can modernize. Instead of bringing in migrants to work low-wage jobs, let's make the high-wage jobs, and let's train our kids to take those jobs. That would cost a lot less than $20 million a month.
What's your name, Emmett?
Bill.
Yeah. I appreciate your thoughtful perspective. I'll give you mine here. All right, because I think that this is so. The situation is so broken, the status quo, that I think it's pretty coherent to say, you know what, just start with the blank slate and start over. Here's my view on it: is that there's a dishonesty to the current program and the justification for it. And here's the dishonesty I'm talking about. Right? It's usually an economic justification for a program that actually was not economically motivated in its first place. So the program I'm talking about, many of you are I've been surprised talking to people in Springfield today how knowledgeable people are on the actual legal details even. But the program I'm talking about is Temporary Protected Status, TPS, okay? It was designed as a humanitarian program largely used after the earthquake in Haiti in 2010. And I think it is beyond bizarre that we should somehow assume that all of those people organically just decided to come to Springfield, Ohio. I mean, I love Springfield, Ohio, don't get me wrong, but I think that most of them on the CBP One app, which is what they used to come into the country, check Chicago, Miami, New York. I don't think Springfield is on the list. So I think that that's also a separate question, which I'm open to taking some questions and comments on. That I think that there's been some hard questions asked about exactly what the heck is going on there. But in response to that, I'm not in favor of necessarily throwing the baby out with the bathwater, in the sense that if you have somebody that came in 20 years ago there's a whole range of other countries too. I mean, people who are maybe a doctor in the community who trained in the right way, came legally, that'd be one thing. But if somebody came here through temporary protected status, which is a humanitarian program, and now you're using an economic justification to keep them, that's dishonest. So that's dishonesty. And I think we got to at least be honest and speak the truth. And the T in temporary protected status means something, right? It stands for temporary. So all I would say is, if you want to bring people to the country economically because it's going to benefit the citizens of the United States, pass that through Congress, make the justification, say how it helps Americans who are already here, and do it honestly through the front door. But don't do it through the back door, because that's just dishonest and erodes public trust in our system and in our government. And I think it's another example of our government systematically lying to us. So that's where I land on it. Thank you. Thank you.
I have one question. My name is Chrissy. You came here from your hometown. We have city officials that live right here in Springfield and have not set up a meeting like this for Springfield. You said your tickets were free, right?
Yes, they are. We're not making money tonight.
Okay, listen to me. But why can't the city officials, I'm serious, why can't the city officials do this? Go to the north, south, east, and west of Springfield, maybe get people that want to come, and find out what they're really living circumstances. And here's why. We're paying for those, right? I've been in Springfield for 66 years. I know a lot about Springfield, okay? So my take is, if you don't talk to people, even Haitians, I have Haitian friends too. I know all of them are over here illegal too. But what I'm saying is, this is a community. If you want to be open about things, talk to the people. Don't just make it seem like President Trump did, like everyone's lying. They don't really know, if they're not living on that side of town, what really goes on. So how will you know about a city if you're not bringing the people together, right, and talking to them? It's called communication 101.
What's your name?
My name is Chrissy.
Chrissy, I appreciate you being here. So I'll tell you what I think is actually going on. Okay, the first thing I'm going to say may not be very popular in this room, but I'll tell you the truth. Okay, this is what I truly believe, so I'm going to share it anyway. Actually, before I came here, I was in City Hall. I met with a number of the city officials. I invited them to be here tonight. Actually, I thought it'd be productive, because I don't have the power other than through philanthropy or through public advocacy to change something here. And we'll try to use the power of my platform voice to cause positive change here. But I invited them to be here because they are in a position to run the city. And I'll tell you what I believe. I know many of you may feel like your leadership doesn't care. I met with them. I don't think that's true. I think I sat there for an hour with them after we met with the Haitian group. I think they actually really do care, at least the subset I met with. And I know that's not a popular view, maybe in this room. But I will tell you what I do see happening in the country. I think there's a culture of fear, actually. I think the reason they're not here tonight is not because they don't care about this. It's because they're scared, actually. And I think that culture of fear has spread like an epidemic across our country, where actually what you really need is just transparency, a report to the people. If you work in a company, how many anybody in here work in a company? Okay, your CEO is the boss of your company, but people mix this up. When you're in government and you're a city official, or you're a mayor or whatever, your boss is actually the people who are in this room today. And it's not just the people in the city who mess that up, that's the federal government as well. And so what I hope to do today is to show that actually talking to the people of Springfield isn't that scary. The way the town council meeting, somebody came up, will be demonized for speaking about their own experience. We're live streaming this for the world to see that actually these are just good, patriotic Americans who love their country and love their city, who are struggling because the people who they elected to run their federal government all the way down have let them down. And you don't have to be scared of actually being face to face with your fellow citizens. So I did my best. I can't control what they do, but I did do my best to highlight this today.
If there's fear, and I'm going to say this, and people might not like it, maybe I shouldn't say it because my family's probably going to say something too, but I'm a black woman in America. I'm going to put that. I've been in IT for over 40 years. I'm usually the only black, and usually it was men that I work with, right? And so what I'm saying is there is that fear factor. There's a fear factor because you go in a place, you don't really know anyone, but you got to meet people, right? But the city officials, and I agree with you, I don't think all of them are that, but forget about the fear factor. People are hurting.
I agree with you.
And to be honest with you, I came up here for one reason. Hopefully they hear me. I live all over Springfield. I've been living in different parts of Springfield, okay, and I'm 66. But what I'm saying is people were afraid of me. The workers that I work were afraid of me because I was different, and they would tell me that after they became friends. I don't want to hear this fear factor, right? People are hurting. People are living in conditions that people don't know about at the official level because they don't live with those people.
Yeah, that's well said. I got a question for you. I got one question because you brought it up, right? You said you're a black woman growing up here. Okay, so I grew up here, guy with brown skin, spent a lot of time in Springfield. You're a black woman who lives in Springfield. So that the rest of the country can hear you, is Springfield a racist city?
To be honest with you, there are people there, but after they get to know you, that's gone.
Yes.
I live where there wasn't a lot of blacks up there, right? And we were only 30 years. We built our house. My husband and I have been together for 51 years, married for 46. People were afraid when we moved in the neighborhood, okay? All my kids, 3 with masters, 2 with masters, bachelors and everything. But they had block parties where everybody in the community around there for blocks around came and had parties and talked. The kids played with each other. Kids don't have fear. It's the adults that have fear.
Exactly.
So that's what I would say. If I would say anything, do a big thing. We got the fairground, we got Snyder Park, we got the reservoir. Bring everybody together, and I guarantee you Haitians will come. But then you talk with them. Listen, you're gonna have bad in every race. Forget it. Let's be real, right? There's not one that doesn't have a nut in the tree someplace, and that's just the truth. That's the truth. It's the truth. So bring them all together, and then make the Haitians feel welcome. But they also have to learn our culture. And the biggest thing is they don't know how to drive. They don't. I know. Because where they practice at is a church that I did attend. And they run into stuff, but they don't mean to. Because guess what? The culture in where they came from is not our culture, and our culture's not there. We have to learn. But if everybody's so fearful, just leave Springfield and put somebody that's not fearful. That's what I would say.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Before I let it continue, let me say hi to people that's in the chat. I really appreciate everybody for commenting. I will take some comments. I can't get to all comments because there's so many, but I appreciate everybody for commenting. Hopefully you guys are commenting among yourself as well. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. If you have not yet, please do me a favor by liking and sharing the video. I would greatly appreciate that. And Angel Reyes says, Christy, I agree. We should offer those jobs to the people that are homeless, not the illegals. We need to help out our citizens first before we help out others from other countries. That's precisely how I feel. That's exactly my sentiment. It's not about hating any other group of people. It's about the priority list. The priority should be American first, and people are being left behind on purpose, and they're bringing in the replacements of people that should be the ones that's given the opportunity. Gospel Outside says this has been going on for decades. This is nothing new. What has been going on? influx of all these migrants in one little city. I don't know if that's really been going on, but I think smaller numbers before the Biden and Harris administration were brought in. Now it's just massive floods of people from all over the globe have saturated America, and they are doing it on purpose. They're hoping to have the votes. They're hoping to keep control and have Democrats still rule. That's what they're doing by using all this crisis, this border crisis, the migrant crisis, to frustrate the residents, the Americans, and to elevate the illegals over the Americans. That's what I'm seeing things are happening as. Elijah says, how about we give it to legal immigrants? I mean, that would be a better idea than how they're doing what they're doing. Forrest Savage says, genuinely, you don't care about people, pets being eaten insane. Well, we do have an attachment to our pets, Forrest Savage. I would not want nobody eyeing my dog and wanting to rotisserie my dog to eat, or have somebody that has a culture of liking that type of meat over chicken and beef. You know, it's just, you know, we care about our pets, some more than others. But like I said, it's not confirmed whether or not cats have been used for sacrifices or anything like that. This was a rumor that started with a lady that lost her cat that was found in the basement. I don't know how many days later or what, but she went and apologized to the neighbor for starting the rumor. And I guess Trump got wind of the lady that said this, but Vance, to be fair, the nominee of the wannabe vice president, he said he heard from his constituents that it was more than a few stories about cats and dogs and whatnot. Also, the geese at the park were being stolen, and that has been confirmed by 911, not 911 call, but some type of non-emergency call that was captured on recording, that he was reporting the crime as it was happening. But yeah, we care about our cats and we care about our dogs. That's our culture, to have like a little buddy. That's what we do here in America. And so maybe other cultures don't really fancy pets that much, but we do. African Goddess, thank you for coming through, says, note where I come from, both ducks and dogs are consumed, just saying. Yes, I heard about dogs in Nigeria being eaten. I would never, like I said, want somebody that is looking at my dog in that way. If that's something that they crave and really eat that kind of thing on a regular. Billy says, Carolyn, stay on track and stop with the racial comments. I didn't see her make a comment yet, but anyone that's talking inappropriately in the chat will be blocked, not just timed out, but blocked. Forrest Savage says, go do something useful, clean your house, breathe clean air. Well, I wish it was just that simple, Forrest Savage, but things have turned up in America, and we're talking about why things are really turned up, and it's because of the Democrats in power. They have allowed all these conditions to be. They should be held accountable. And so that's why I'm showcasing these videos, so that we can understand why they are at fault and why Trump needs to be elected president November 5th. Angel says, Elijah, how about we give it to Americans first? American first, Americans first. We need to be first before other countries and other people from other countries. Exactly. I would think that that's the best way to do it first. And then after all, exhausting, trying to get jobs to the American people, if they still don't fill those posts, and you give it to legal immigrants. And then you, if you have to fill it in with people seeking asylum or whatever like that, then you can give it to them last. But it should not be first over Americans. That's just very disrespectful. It's a smack in the face to us as Americans, the Constitution and everything that America has been standing on as far as being American first. The Tar Heel says, ODG, Caroline, the white man really bless your heart. Okay, Caroline. Okay. Diana says, they are legal, they are migrants. Well, that's debatable, Diana. How Kamala did it, allowing them to come through based on how she did it, it technically they still could be considered illegal by some of us. Caroline says, we as a country would be further along if the Secretary of State besides did not steal all the money from the education department. Is that right? I have to look into that story. I haven't heard about that, but that's a crying shame if that really happened. CR says it's called common sense. You can't help your neighbor fix their house, so you have your house in order first until you have your house in order first. Exactly. We have got to prioritize. Thank you, shared on X. Thank you, I am me. Thank you. I appreciate that. Forrest says American public servants do not have the right to serve anybody but Americans. Furthermore, they should be prosecuted for aiding illegal immigrants with our tax dollars, especially over citizens. Yeah, it's a crying shame to see how devastated a lot of the residents are looking at the town hall. And it's going to get worse before you know it. When I go back and play more, there was a lot more to be said. And I'm going to get back to that after reading some more comments. You said they did not come here through legal means, Diana Me says. Ben, what's up? Elijah is probably an immigrant. Elijah? You talking about Elijah Muhammad, I guess you mean? I think he was, wasn't he? I don't know. He's not a Black American, if you're speaking about him. Migrant, immigrant, undocumented are different terms, Diana says. Angel says, Diana, you're like the other people that don't believe they're eating pets. You are so delusional. There's videos of it on YouTube. Look it up. Do your research. Well, Angel, that video that's circulating about that cat actually came from Canton, Ohio, not Springfield. It was not Haitian. It was actually more than likely a Black American woman that had some type of meltdown, and that happened in Canton, Ohio, not Springfield. So it's no confirmation as of yet with cats and dogs in Springfield. Only the geese. Only that people that are Haitian was seen stealing geese, 4 of them at one point. There was a call in a while ago about that crime. But other than that, no other confirmation has been confirmed, to my knowledge, as of yet. Forrest Savage says, keep saying what you want until it magically becomes true. Too bad these owners will never be able to hold their pets again or interact with them. Oh, Lord. I wouldn't be surprised if it did happen that way. Like I said, they have a culture that's different from ours. They do practice voodoo. I know some are pretending like they never practiced, but they weren't too long ago away from Haiti. So I'm not going to discount the possibility. I'm just saying that there's no confirmation for it. You said he's disgusting. Every time I see him, I just can't help but laugh. Who are you talking about? Immigrants is someone who wants to reside in another country permanently. Yeah, that's what it is, Diana. Illegal immigrant, you meant. Me says. Keep spewing the propaganda you don't even understand. What are you talking? Oh, you're talking about Diana. Undocumented is someone who is here illegally, Diana says. Ben says these people are a cancer to the West. I thought they hate the West. Can't live without white daddy. Yeah, that's very strange. Like a lot of Africans and other melanated people, they come to America and they really ridicule Black Americans about us living in America, saying that we can't survive unless we're next to white people and all this type of trash talk. But they're running over here to live among the white people. And they, so it's really odd how that is turning out, how they're trying to bash us, tell us we need to consider Africa as they're fleeing Africa. That's wild to me. But that I talk about Pan-Africanism and the lie of that, the fraud of that. I'll be talking about that again on Sunday. For those that want to hear that kind of conversation, it's the Pan-African edition on Sundays. I'll talk about that more. Marky says, Forrest, do you have proof? I keep getting people saying everyone is lying. Where is the proof? Or like to know, please. RS says, why do you call politicians our boss? I see it as we are the ones, the voters that get them their job. So we should be their boss. We got them the job. I understand, RS. They should look at it like it is a job that they were hired to do. But a lot of them, once they get that power, they could care less about what that truly means. And that's what we're witnessing. Forrest Savage says, oh my goodness, guys, please, I cannot send a link. Even if I sacrifice my life for it, there's nothing I can do to share the link in the live stream. What type of link are you talking about, Sharon? What are you talking about? Marky said that they can't link it. They really should do a census. Okay. Dice says, Diana, did the leaders ask the people they were governing over if they wanted all these migrants? Leaders can't just do that. They elected to work for the people, not make decisions for them. Exactly, Dice. Caroline says, when the morale is down in the work environment, most of the jobs will do a survey. So yes, a census or survey is needed at this time. And Diana says, Dice, how about you ask Trump? Then this happened in 2018 when the influx started. Okay. We need a cap on immigration, Ben says. Exactly. Forrest says, I literally cannot tell you any more times. I can't send a link live stream. Tell me what the link's for, Forrest. I keep asking you. Let me go down. African Goddess says, I agree with the Black American lady talking about the Haitians needing time to learn the culture. But again, the numbers seem too high. I think that it's too high and it's a little bit too late because all the monies and resources are drying up and the people are hurting behind it. Dice says, don't whine at us when taxes get higher for us and the U.S. citizens become third-class citizens in their own country. That's what's going to happen, the way things are going. And that's a crying shame. Opportunity for what? Dirt says, look at our own citizens. Most of them rather be homeless than get a job. Who's going to work the farms? Are you? That's why there are some that are needed over here. But we don't need a mass epidemic of migrants coming through unvetted. The way that it's been done has just been really mismanaged and very disrespectful, I would add. So I'm going down to see what you're talking about. Let me see. Second, challenge the integrity of your own beliefs. Anyways, I'm going to go back now to the video, to the town hall meeting. So let's resume that. Hold on. If you have not yet, please like, share, and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Now we're going to get to the next question.
So am I allowed to move around a little bit with the microphone?
What's that?
Am I allowed to move around a little
Yeah,
bit?
yeah,
with the
absolutely.
microphone?
That
I've
way
been bringing everybody
we
here,
can
but
get
I want
around.
to try to get. Okay,
Exactly.
so I'm gonna.
Absolutely.
Why don't you come over here and we'll do your question here, and then I'm gonna start coming around a little bit.
You'll
if
go
that's
to this
okay.
side over here, yeah?
What's up? You look a really good person, by the way, too, man. My name is Brock Iggy. I've lived in Springfield 28 years, all my life, pretty much. Since this story leaked, and this is something that everyone needs to hear, the hateful language in this community has spiked. It's really, really bad. I'm half black, I'm half Hungarian, I'm half black, half white, whatever you want to say. I've become a target of the hate. I can probably count on my hand, both hands, how many times a racial slur has been said my whole life. We called the N-word twice this week by just people who group me. It happens. Even though my skin may be lighter, I think people just group us together. There's horror stories of people who are darker skinned that have been chased down by people who are white, saying, get out of this country, friends of mine, friends of friends, and say, like, get out of here, you're Haitian, we don't want you here, even with the 6-month-old baby at a grocery store. So regardless, I find it shameful and I find it inappropriate whether I'm Haitian or American. What would you say to my fellow people here in the community in regards to this rhetoric? I don't think it can be tolerated.
Tell me? Brock. Yeah. All right, so this is a serious question. I want to take a minute to address this. I can speak some truth here. I'm in the camp of long-standing believing that the United States of America is not a racist country, the least racist country known to mankind. I have never experienced that type of invidious racism growing up. But I also want to speak a hard truth here, because there's something going on in the country right now. When I say right now, I'm talking like the last 9 to 12 months in this country. There is a weird uptick in racial tension in this country that did not exist in the 30 years that I grew up right here in Southwest Ohio. And I'll tell you what's going on, because this gets to the essence of what's going on in this country and bothers me. Take the immigration issue. You take 20,000 people who are unprepared to integrate into a community, dump them into a city of 50,000, you're going to get a reactionary response. Then you demonize the people who have the reactionary response, who say, oh, you're blaming me. They're going to have ill will, in this case, towards the Haitian community. On the racial point, let me mention this too, because I see this happening. There's no better way to create racism in America, anywhere, than to take something else away from someone's family because of their skin color. So whether it's a seat in college, or whether it's a job, or now even forms of federal aid under the likes of Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris, say that you only get certain forms of aid if you're a racial minority, if you're black or Hispanic. That actually creates more racial animus in response. And so this is what I think many people on the right sometimes miss, which is that, are these anti-racist programs, are they racist against whites or Asians? They are, but actually it's not just that it's racist against whites and racist against Asians. It is literally fueling a new wave of anti-black racism in the country that otherwise would not have existed if it weren't for those woke anti-racist policies in the first place. It is divide and conquer. It's the media. The media's throwing kerosene on this. And so here's what was happening. It's like the final embers of racism were burning out in America. And then they're throwing kerosene on it all over again. It is a divide and conquer strategy. They want to divide us on ourselves. And you know who it's up to make sure they can't get away with that? It's up to us. It's up to we the people to say hell no to that vision. You will sell us this myth that we're divided. You're going to try to pit us against each other. But you know what? We the people who are citizens of the United States of America are the people who we actually elect a government to represent. And all of us are American, regardless of our race or creed, and that's what made this country great the first time around, and that's how we're going to make this country great again. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, bro.
Hi. So I have a young daughter. I have 2 daughters, actually, and one of my daughter is younger. So I want to talk about the crime a little bit.
Sure.
Personal crime. So she's been followed around Walmart. She's been stalked. She ran to her car, threw her stuff down, ran to her car. She was chased. Okay? They were immigrants. She was chased by a man with a machete on her way to work. Called the police. She told them what had happened and wanted to file a report. 2 hours later, the police still had not called her back and never checked on the crime. So that's how you know there's no crime in Springfield, because no one's reporting it.
That was your daughter. So and do you, I mean, I guess, does she have any sense for whether those were illegal immigrants into the countries? I mean, she probably wasn't conversing with them while they're chasing her with a machete, but okay, readily identified. See, here's the thing. It's uncomfortable to say this, but it's true. If your first act of entering the country breaks the law, then you're more likely to break the law when you're already here, right? And this is, I don't like just talking about the easy issues. Let's talk about the hard issues. I mean, they hit President Trump a lot for the so-called...
Ironically enough, the Democrats voted not to deport illegal migrants if they were sex offenders, y'all. Can y'all believe that? Check this video out.
Immigrants, they're guilty of sexual assault. This is the party that Black Americans should vote for.
Yeah, Gotham Ghetto Gospel. Dun, dun, dun. Breaking news. 158 Democrats voted against deporting illegals guilty of sexual assault. Well, what do we have here? Where's all the women that's talking about Kamala and Democrats is for women's rights? Where the fuck was they at when this was going on, huh? Because the Republicans came to save the day. They the ones who got this shit passed. Y'all keep talking about, I posted it earlier, I ain't see none of these women with this, women rights. Where was y'all at in the comments? Y'all quick to jump in my comments to say shit like, Trump didn't even know who Nikki such and such was. He called them a girl. All that dumb shit. Shit that don't have nothing to do with real life shit. Let's talk about this. 158 Democrats voted against deporting illegals guilty of sexual assault. Where are y'all at? Y'all always got so much shit to talk. Why? Why y'all not speaking on this? Why is nobody else posting this? Why is none of the other leaders that's trying to help the community and they for the women and all that? Why are they not posting this? Why is this a big secret, huh? Know what I mean? Oh, and I found out, I'm going to talk about the God bless her soul, the lady in Georgia with the abortion. I found out the real story. I'll talk about that later. But right now, breaking news.
That's a good question. So a couple of things. Community about self-awareness. But you know, as far as we can be concerned as a nation, well, when you ask a question like that, you need to consider all the modalities. Whether they're neutral or they're coveted in a bunch of lies. That's concerning. That is, that is quite concerning. So when you bring up tropes of lies, you're bringing up a lot more than that. You're bringing in a conversation that nobody really wants to have. But I have the will to have that conversation. I could snatch your wills away right now.
Sound just like her. My God, that was really weird. That was really funny too.
For the so-called, the one they really tried to nail him for was the family separation policy, right?
Right.
Anybody in this room know how many mothers in the United States of America are in prison right now? It's about 350,000, actually. And yes, I have a book coming out next week, and I've got a Fox Nation special coming out next week. It's called Truths. Lays out a lot of these hard truths. That's one of the truths. It's a hard truth. It's about 350,000 mothers who are in prison. You know who we don't make them take with them? We don't make them take their kids. Right?
Yeah, they're all on.
And we say, that's a difficult situation, but you deal with it in a different way. And so I think we have to restore the culture of the rule of law in this country. In this town alone, double the number of shoplifting crimes in the last 2 years. 2 2 years is not a long time for shoplifting rates to double. Auto thefts are up by over 50% in that same time frame. And as you said, based on your daughter's story, that's against the backdrop of many of them likely even going unreported. We got to restore that culture of the rule of law, but part of the reason we're seeing this too is that many illegal immigrants into this country, many other criminals in this country, when they see the top law enforcement agencies in the United States of America themselves not following the law, then they rightly ask the question, well, why the heck should I have to follow the law anyway? So top to bottom and bottom to top, we have to restore the rule of law in the United States. It's who we are, and that's how we save this country. So I appreciate that. I'm glad your daughter's safe. Thank you for sharing the story. Appreciate it. Thank you.
My question is, when the illegal immigrants are coming into not only Springfield but throughout the country, and they get their benefits and they check a box to register to vote, that's a very big concern. What you're thinking about illegals voting?
Yeah, I'm against it. That's sort of where I land on that question. I actually I spoke to President Trump earlier today, and one of the things that makes a lot of sense is, the thing about him is he says a lot of things that make sense, and sometimes the things that make sense hurt your feelings a little bit for a while, and then you got to get over it and realize that actually there's a hard fact at the heart of it. So there's this statute called the SAVE Act. I don't know if anybody's heard of it. And it's this really controversial law that says that if you're going to vote, you have to be a citizen of the country. And you know what? For some reason, we just can't get that through. And actually, it's not just Democrats. I think that they have a lot of Republican reluctance around this too, which is strange to me. I think that the reality is, if we can't agree that the people who vote in the United States of America ought to actually be citizens of this country, then I think we're done, actually. But here's why I don't think we're done, actually, because most people in this country, at the level of the citizens, we the people actually agree on that. It's the managerial class, and in some ways, the bizarrely behaving elected leaders of this country that are actually betraying we the people. Now, on this, my goal here is, this is not a campaign event. I wanted to come here, the concerns of the community, and to share some of my own thoughts and start a conversation that this city, I hope, benefits from. But I will say that I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that you do have a chance to change it. Okay, you don't like the direction of the country and the way it's going. You want to change the rules. You got to win under the current rules first. And you each have an opportunity to do that on November 5th. So do your part as a citizen.
Yes, November 5th needs to be put on the calendar as a reminder, a week before reminder, hours before reminder, so that we get out and vote. Now, I'm going to save a little bit of that town hall meeting, because now I want to showcase the difference. In Chicago, the people are not being talked to at all. They're being ignored. They're being mocked. They're being taunted. Mostly them all are Black residents, Americans. Springfield has, I believe, like 85% white, I would guess. All that attention that's been brought to Springfield, and supposedly Trump says in the next couple of weeks he's going to make his way to Springfield, and they're supposedly trying to get some monies now to help the residents because of all this attention. But what about Chicago? Why can't Chicago get any assistance? They have a deficit of $1 billion. That's going to have to be cuts and slashes done coming next year, I would believe. Listen to the difference, though. They're frustrated. They're trying to bring their complaint to the proper people, and they're not really being respected at all. And this, again, is the result of allowing the Democrats to be in power and stay in power for so long, to the point where they're not even acknowledging Black people at all. And it's such a crying shame that we're being treated in such a bad way. But look at what they're saying.
Before I react to this video, first of all, this video is not mine. I'm just going to react to it, and I'm going to say some things. This is happening in Chicago. My thing is, I think they are trying to start a war between the Latin and blacks in Chicago, the Latins and blacks all over America, because something's not right. And one of the guys, I guess, that is on the council, an Hispanic brother, he turns around and thinks it's funny, and he waves his arms. Let's get it.
We down. Chairman down. Enough is enough. We sat here for the past 9 months. We sat here for the past 9 months. Watching y'all pass resolution after resolution up to $1 billion in debt. Black communities, listen, ladies. They don't get to kick us out. They don't get to engineer a way to get us out of here. No. Miss Lady, look. Let us speak. You can let us speak.
I'm gonna stop.
So they're trying to bar them from speaking. So that's why they're getting all hyped up and screaming and hollering in the background, so that they let it be known that their voices won't go down without a fight, without a fighting chance to be heard. But they're trying to get rid of them now. So just take a listen to this.
Right there for a minute. Notice you only have a lot of illegal immigrants sitting there and a couple of blacks. These people are trying to start something. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but there's something not right about this whole picture, what's going on in Chicago and New York City. It's not funny, and they're starting something that's going to turn into a real nasty war between the Latins and black community. I'm not going to get involved in it because I love everybody. Let's continue.
You better let us speak. You better let us speak. So we come here today. We came here today for the finance meeting. Where look how they fill the room up. Look what they fill the room up with. It's not about black Americans. It's not about Americans, period. It's about the agenda that they have against this community, against this city. Hey, Alvarez, David, Vasquez, David. It's not funny, though. Whatever this inside, whatever it is y'all trying to engineer against us, it's not funny. It has not become, now look, every resident, all the residents in Chicago suffering under the weight of y'all, for the last 9 months, every decision that y'all have made, to house, to spend, to do everything in y'all power, to what? Keep black Americans out of the city, so we get to speak, we get to tell y'all exactly how.
They're literally being squeezed out of the city of Chicago with what they're doing. The same thing can be said what has already happened in California. There's just barely 2 million black folks that lives in California at this point because of all the different things and strategies that were used to downsize black people and cause them to be squeezed out and move. And that seems to be the thing that they're doing now in Chicago. And it starts with this deficit. Once programs are slashed and people can't afford to stay in these homes or apartments, they will have to move somewhere else. That's called the squeeze. And they're being replaced by the Hispanics that are in there watching all this stuff unfold. They're calm, cool, and collected because they know they're being benefited. The only people that are upset are the black folks. Listen to this.
Hey, excuse me, Chairman Dow. Chairwoman Dow, please. Y'all don't get to do this. No, sir. They don't get to do this. They don't get to.
See, in Chicago, they fight for this. New York City, I don't know what's going on with New York. I'm so embarrassed that I can honestly say I'm from the city of New York because we just sitting back doing nothing. But Chicago will fight to the end. What in the H-E-L-L happened to the people?
Look at the people that's sitting in the audience. Those are the constituents that are being supported. The people that are standing in outrage and hollering and screaming are the black folks that are being ignored. No one is coming to talk to them about nothing. Nothing at all, just asked out. This is what we need to know as Americans, that most likely when places such as Chicago and other areas that saturate the black community, affects the black community, ain't nobody coming for a rescue plan like they're going to try to do for Springfield. Just keep that in mind.
New York. Let's continue.
To bring y'all here in hopes of what? Getting more money, more funding, leading us dry. More tax dollars up. I'm still homeless. Hey, Cesar Lopez, Chairman of the House, why am I still homeless? Why are there countless black Americans in this city still homeless right now? Yet you've housed how many illegals? To the tune of what? So y'all on the road to recovery, why? But black Americans still suffer. I'm still homeless. Tell me, y'all on the road to recovery what? Y'all done drove us into what? Velasquez, David and Velasquez, please. David.
Look at how they're ignoring them. They don't give a damn. None of the Democrats care. Kamala Harris doesn't care. The Democrats don't care. Nobody freaking cares about these people. We need to care about what is happening to us and why this time around we need to vote for Trump. This is an example of why that is.
And that Latin brother Velasquez is laughing. He's not even paying attention. He thinks it's a joke. This whole thing is going to...
They all think it's a joke, but, you know, the same woman that you seen that was standing came on to the Real Dana program. Shout out to her. And brought in two of the women that have been going viral in Chicago about what's been going on. And I want you guys to hear what they had to say, because they are breaking it down as far as what is going on in Chicago and why they're so upset. This should be a cautionary tale for all the things that may come abound around the corner with a Kamala Harris as president coming up next year if you guys do not do your part and vote for Trump.
Oh, I see y'all.
Has he been there to help out native Chicagoans or Chicago residents and saying we can't do this to them?
No, he hasn't.
No, he hasn't. So, we were discussing a little while ago.
Yeah, we were just talking. We just got finished talking about.
We was talking about we're unfair to immigrants. We're being unfair to the illegal immigrants.
No, we're not. We're not being unfair to illegal immigrants. We don't want them in our community. They brought over 50,000 illegal immigrants into the city. They're all over the city. And they dumped a lot of them on the south side of Chicago. I live in Hyde Park, and they're in a migrant shelter, they call it a migrant shelter, at the Lakeshore Hotel, right across the street from me. And they've been here for months. And when they first brought them into the city, Desmond Yancey, who is the alderman of the 5th Ward, my alderman, I worked to help get that Negro in, and I'm going to work to help get that Negro out. He had a meeting at the Promontory Point, and this is where I met Sister Jessica. And I went there for the sole purpose of disrupting and interrupting and letting him know we did not want these illegal immigrants next door to us. That fell on deaf ear. They ended up putting them over here anyway. They have criminals over here.
Wait a minute. You're supposed to be a white supremacist. Al Sharpton said all of you were white, and it was racism.
And that's the problem that we're going to have as Black people. People are going to be accusing us of being Islamic phobic. Anytime you have anything to say, even if you're becoming homeless, they don't care. They're just going to call you Islamophobic. They're going to say you act like the white man. All this type of jazz talk. That's not the truth. And luckily, these women are standing up for themselves and letting us see firsthand what they're going through so that we know why the Democrats need to get up out of power.
You know, Judge, when that was during Lori Lightfoot's administration, Al Sharpton and Derek Johnson, who's over the NAACP, who lives in Jackson, Mississippi, my hometown, they came up here and they stood with Lori Lightfoot and they said that we should accept them into this city, along with Congressman Benny Thompson, the congressman from Mississippi, we went to Tougaloo College together. All of these people came here and supported Lori Lightfoot in bringing these illegal immigrants here. And so when my alderman had that meeting over at the Promontory Point, I went and I made a lot of noise, and we said we did not want them here, but they ended up coming here. And they're supposed to be leaving the 24th of October. I will believe it when I see it. But these people are I've seen people driving Maserati. These people have their food, their rent, their clothing, everything that's being financed by the taxpayers of the city of Chicago. They even have house cleaning service. They don't even make their bed. A lot of young men who hang around outside the hotel all day. Children who are supposed to be going to school, and some of them don't even go to school. So we're financing these people. They've spent over $640 million on illegal immigrants, and that's why we have the budget deficit. We have a $1 billion budget deficit. And you know who's going to be paying for it? The taxpayers. They used all that money to take care of these people. They didn't use that money to hire more black police officers, to hire more black teachers, to hire more black firemen, or to hire black people, period. Because they're hiring everybody in this city but black people. And I am sick of it. And that's why I told Johnson he was a disgrace. He's a disaster. He's an embarrassment because everything that he's doing in this city is for illegal immigrants. And if we don't, as black people, stop voting identity politics, we're in trouble already. We are in trouble in Chicago, and I see everything that we have fought for, everything that we have gained in this city. I see us losing it because the majority of the black aldermen, we have 20 black aldermen, the majority of those aldermen vote for everything that mayor wants them to vote for, and it's all about the illegal immigrants. Now, he just got rid of this program, Shot Spotter. That's a program that is connected to the police. And if there's violence in the community, shooting, the police can hear it. It goes into the police department. They respond to that quicker than they do just people shooting. But they voted that down today. But he kept it. Now, he kept that program until after the Democratic National Convention. And now he's getting rid of the program. And I think it'll save something like $100 million. You know what he's going to do with that $100 million? He's going to use that money to take care of
This is our 28-year-old son that died October 11th of 2008, diagnosed with glioblastoma.
And that I'm opposed to. And that's what black people are opposed to on the south side of Chicago, except for these politicians, many of our ministers, many of the black organizations. So we really don't have anyone to really fight for us in this city. So that's why I take time to go down there and voice my opinion, along with Sister Jessica, Joy, Zoe, Taiwan, and a couple of more people. So that's why we're down there, raising here. We went down there today to talk about the budget. They had a finance committee meeting, and they strategically kept us from speaking, and that's when we started raising hell.
I want to play.
Sharpton says you're being racist.
I could care less about what they say.
I want to play.
We're going to have to fight against this notion that we're Islamophobic or racist or any of that. Again, people are trying to snatch away our right to speak and silence us by embarrassment or bashing, accusing us of this and that and the other. I'm so glad that they're of seasoned age to not be bullied. But that's what I would describe what Democrats are trying to do to Black Americans, is bully us into staying silent and letting whatever happened to us just happen, just bulldoze over us. And they expect us just to take it and accept the abuse. And that's not cool. That's why we need the Democrats out of office. And that's why I am in support of Trump. Let's go.
Play the clip. I want to play the clip of Miss Lewis at the City Hall.
Well, I just played. Okay, maybe not that part. Hold on.
PCB meeting. Okay. Okay.
All I can say to you is that you are a disgrace. I'm an 80-year-old woman, and I've never seen anything like this. I grew up in the Jim Crow South, and the policies that you're passing in this city remind me of the Jim Crow South. I had to drink out of a colored water fountain, or the whites would drink out of a white water fountain. But you know what I didn't have to worry about? Going back to my community, and it would be destroyed. And everybody else is in my community but Black people. And this is what you've done with this immigration. You have allowed all these people, you brought all these people into this city. You are destroying this city. And the Black community is flooded with all of these immigrants. Violent ones, prostitution, gangs. You get that. You are doing this to your people. You are an absolute disgrace to me. Like I said, I drank out of that colored water fountain, but I could go back to that Black community that was intact. Women are crying. Taxes are going up. What am I going to do with my children? Where are we going to go and live? This is because of you, Brandon Johnson. You're destroying the south side of Chicago with your policy. All under the Democratic Party. You are a disgrace.
So, as I said, this is Dana, the real Dana. And she has two of the advocates that are residents of Chicago. They are trying to advocate for themselves about this deficit that is $1 billion that needs to take away other programs and stuff coming up in the near future. And they're not being listened to. They're being ignored. They've been told to leave, to be quiet, or ignored. But that's not the case when it comes to Springfield. At least those people are getting some worldwide attention, even if it started off as a rumor about cats and dogs being eaten because of what Trump said. But you can't say that, in the same vein as what's going on with the ladies that I just showed y'all. Now we're going to get back to a little bit more of this town hall meeting. It gets more interesting towards the end, so I really want y'all to hear what was stated.
And you do your part, and I promise you Donald Trump's going to do his, I'm going to do mine, and that's how we're going to have to save our country. Right here? Sure.
My name's Donald.
We met.
I was a Springfield resident for 50 years. It was 10 years I was in California. I was homeless for 4 years in California, living in hotels, on the street, under bridges. I left and came to Ohio.
So we're coming to the finish line. We're leading in the polls, and we're doing well.
The thing is, my question is, what is the United States government or state governments or local governments going to do about the homeless problem that is around the entire country? It seems like they care more for the illegal immigrants than they care about the homeless in our country.
So I'm going to say, I said one controversial thing earlier, which is that the people we elect to run the government should be the ones who actually run the government. I'll say a second controversial thing now. The first and sole moral duty of U.S. elected leaders is to U.S. citizens, period. And I don't think we're behaving that way today. Now, how do we address this problem of homelessness? We got to have more housing in the country that brings down the cost of housing. And the reason we don't have that, actually, a lot of this does start at the state and local level, where you have all of these zoning ordinances. You've got all kinds of regulations with respect to the sizes of homes that can be built. Sometimes somebody's starter home doesn't have to be a mansion, but it can be a one-bedroom home or a single-family home that is more affordable. It's like the laws of supply and demand. If you have more supply, the cost is going to come down. It becomes more affordable. We need to increase housing construction in the country. And I know it takes a lot of guts, man, to say that, to share that background of yours coming from California to here. I hope you find a better life in Ohio than you did in California. And if I have anything to do with it, I promise we're going to try to make sure that you do. So thank you. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So my question is, I'll make it short and sweet. I've been here for 35 years here in Springfield, Ohio. As you guys, I'm a full-blown Trump supporter. I'm a full believer that he's the man that's going to save us. Do you currently think right now that the current administration is the reason we're having all this trouble currently here in Springfield, Ohio?
I do, actually. I really do. And that's actually probably the number one most important policy takeaway here. You know, I think if you're going to run for public office at the local level or at the state level, you got to be ready to take the heat. All right, if you can't handle the heat, stay out of the kitchen. And I do think that criticism at every level is fair. But if you want to understand where I think the real problem is, I don't think Houdini himself, as a magician, could have fixed a problem in Springfield if you have federal policies that are permitting millions of illegals and stretch the law to make them legals entering this country and dumping them into cities like this one. It'd be like the equivalent of sending 2 million additional people to New York City. Can you imagine that? That's the effect of sending 20,000 people to Springfield. That's a direct result of those federal policies. And again, you don't always have a chance to change it. But this time, in about 50 days, you actually do. And it's time that we actually use our chance to do it. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Bill O'Brien from Cincinnati, Ohio. This country cares more about Ukraine's borders, Israel's borders, everybody else's borders, transgenders in Pakistan. They quit caring about us long before Trump's last administration. This country's gone downhill for a long time. The Declaration of Independence states that people have a right to alter or abolish the government that is destructive to their rights and safety. It's been like that for a long time. When did we burn it down? I like your ideals.
Thank you, my man. I appreciate it. And you know what? I don't think it makes sense to send a bunch of your taxpayer money so some Ukrainian bureaucrat can buy a bigger house. I'd rather this gentleman right here buy that bigger house. So thank you. I appreciate you sharing that. Well, we're going to do our best to change it, brother. Thank you, my man. I appreciate it. Thank you for. And you know what? Shut it down is the way I say it in terms of a lot of these regulatory, the regulatory state and the federal government. The right answer is we're never going to actually reform that beast. Some Republicans, I think, fall into this trap. Good people, but they fall into this trap saying, hey, we're going to get there and reform it around the edges and cut off one head of an 8-headed hydra. It grows right back. You want to actually fix this, you get in there and you go from one agency to another. Millions of federal bureaucrats haven't earned an honest dollar in the private sector in their lives. Go in there and actually shut it down. And then you start and the NGOs are part of it, just part of the 3-letter agency. So that's my philosophy. But I think we're going to do it. Our founding fathers had to do it one way. We're going to do it the peaceful way. And we're going to do it the way that we're not there yet. We're at a place in the country where it's the 1776 spirit. Channel that to what we do this November. And that's the way we'll get it done for the country. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mr. Ramaswamy, so my mother voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016. She voted for Joe Biden in 2020. She voted for Obama twice. What can I do to convince her to vote for Donald J. Trump this November? How can I convince her to secure my future as an American? How can I convince her to make sure I have a future I can look forward to and not make that mistake again?
How old are you, man?
I am 19 years old.
He's 19 years old. I love this guy. So, you gotta love your mom, all right? that? Because she's raised a good son. And that's the best part of a good mother right there. So here's the thing. I don't actually, sometimes people, when they've just been inculcated into a culture by the media, etc., first thing, take that TV remote at home and just turn it off. Shut that down too, actually. All right? The next thing to do is actually, how did she manage to raise somebody who actually was this young and good? It's by having school systems that actually focus on the education and merit of children rather than some equity agenda. How are you going to get a job when you graduate from high school or from college? Who's actually going to allow you to earn more money? Lay it out for her. And Kamala Harris, she wants taxes on unrealized capital gains, tank the economy, shut down drilling, increase gas costs, and actually shut down the economy. Tell her this. I think it might be the most convincing thing because nothing overrides the parental instinct. You're going to actually live a better life, you personally, and make more money after you get out of high school or after you get out of college if Donald Trump's in the White House rather than Kamala Harris. And I think that's going to convince your mom to bring her along. So tell her to try it. And the last thing I'll say is, you tried it the other way. You said Obama twice, Hillary, Joe Biden. You tried it the other way 4 times, and here's where we are. What's the harm in trying the other way one time and see how it turns out this time? So that's what I was saying. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yes. Good to see you, my man. Thank you. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you. You keep at it. So, thank you. Yeah. Good to see you. Thank you. It's great to be here.
I'm on my X. I know where to go. So I'm here today. I follow you on Twitter. One of only 3 politicians that I follow.
Who are the other 2? I'm curious.
RFK Jr.
Okay.
And Tulsi Gabbard.
All right. Good people.
Anyway, I've probably gotten in trouble now. Anyway,
not my book yet.
So your initial tweet on Saturday. First thing it's kind of 2 things. Number 1, the first thing that you said is you want to come and help, and I appreciate that. And you said you want to bring a contribution, to a nonprofit, and you answered part of that earlier, but it seems that money is still up for grabs.
It is. I would love, as long as it supports this community.
Yes, 100%.
As long as it supports this community, absolutely.
I work for a nonprofit in Springfield. It's a faith-based nonprofit. We have 26 ministry partners doing incredible work in our city. We have multiple multiple partners that are community partners. We work with our local schools. We work with our health department to try to tackle some of the biggest problems in our community. And this is the respect and honor.
You come up next.
This is the respect and honor that you asked for. So here's what I will say. Because we have started, we asked our business and government, what is the biggest problems in Springfield right now with the Haitians? And they said, well, we need driving school and we need them to learn English because 80% of our population cannot speak to 20% of our population. And we said, okay, we've already proven that we can solve problems in our schools by connecting churches to schools and meeting 300. Wow, facts. I'm sorry, there's facts. Literally.
We'll give Ms. Turner. No,
literally.
We'll just one.
This is my minute.
We'll give you the turn. We'll give you the mic.
Jiminy Christmas.
You get to finish, sir. And then we're going to give it to you. Thank you.
So here is,
and you get to speak next.
The problem. I actually have facts. We've given away $300,000 from the faith community to solve families' problems in our city schools. It's an incredible program. It's nationwide. It's called Care Portal. We are the implementing partner of the year nationwide. We are doing really good work in Clark County with that. But the needs are vast because of the overwhelming.
May I just say one thing? Because I'm happy to commit to this. I will look at and learn more about the work, and I will say something. I know it feels like we have a disagreement. We're going to give this woman a chance just to speak right after. But here's one thing I will say is, irrespective of this specific exchange, I think actually the revival of faith in our country is going to be a good thing to reunite us. That much I stand for. And in terms of the impact that I want to have, one of the things I've made, you make mistakes as a philanthropist. You think you're having an impact, you give money, then it doesn't actually have an impact on the cause you thought it was given to. I want to make sure that we're helping this community, and I promise you that I will take an honest and earnest look at whatever you're working on, okay? I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm going to give this woman a chance to speak, and then we'll move on.
I need to respond to what she said.
Give her a chance to speak, because we couldn't hear her.
So being doxxed and having all of your private information on public is
Sir, I want to be respectful. Have a seat, and we can actually have her speak as well.
I'm wondering if the traffic accident you were involved in a year ago is even worth pursuing. Chances are, it can get you.
Her speak as well.
No, and I think.
We said two rules tonight: honesty and respect.
Right.
So we're going to follow both of them. Okay.
I think that we've had a lot of church groups in Springfield community, Catholic, Christian organizations that have they've contributed to bringing to. We could have handled 3,000-4,000 people. We're not unwelcoming to that effect. But 20,000, when does it stop? And we've had a lot of outside with religious organizations, some cults, who have brought in and who have benefited, whether it's a financial benefit, if it's an ego, from their ego to benefit to virtue signal that they're good people, and they have done a disservice. They have done a disservice to our community. And again, I'll get up to 5,000, 15 or 20. I want to say to the Haitian community that I'm not mad at the Haitian community. I get it. I would have ran here.
We were in their shoes. We'd have done the same thing.
Absolutely. And I'm not an unkind person. And I've been kind, and I will continue to be kind. But it's been enough. We have been called racist by our mayor, by our city council. We have had NGOs come into the city council, call us racist, put up signs in their churchyard. I love Jesus with all my heart. But you gotta bring truth in the word of Christ and not bits and pieces. We're not doing that. And that is what we're seeing in our community. I don't know what to do. Like, you're here, Vivek. What do we do when you're not here anymore? What do we do for our mayor who is pushing back on us instead of the federal and state government? We are the one who's pushing back on it.
Well, the reason why he's not pushing back because he has a lot to gain by having the immigrants there. And he's capitalizing because he owns property, as I read the article in the beginning of the video. For those that didn't come in the beginning, I read an article that showcased that this Mayor Rue owns a lot of properties, a funeral home and whatnot. And he is housing by the cot, supposedly a cot, not by unit, but by a cot. And he's filling one home with like 20 of them, they're saying. In effect, getting all that money. Maybe some of them are being subsidized by the federal government. But ultimately, the people, the mayor wants the illegals there because he's making a lot of more money off of them than not. And so they don't care about what is happening to the people on the ground. It's just a crying shame. It's a conflict of interest. Just like the residents have said, they feel like he needs to recuse himself from that position as a mayor. And they might be trying to look to get him ousted as a mayor. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. But I think that this is very informative, this town hall meeting, with all the questions that have been levied out there and information that's been brought out.
No, don't apologize. Never apologize for speaking your mind. And I want to be respectful of this gentleman as well. But let me see if I can build one bridge here we might be able to agree on, all right? I talk about this in some of my writing, my upcoming book, and we talk about a solution that maybe we can, as people of faith, agree on here. You're a Christian. You believe in God. You have a kind heart. You also believe that we have to protect our country, and we can't, through the back door, actually slowly erode the fabric and the economic health and security of cities like Springfield. For those who have a charitable mindset, those who have compassion for kids who are born in the third world or in nations like Haiti, there is an option that we actually don't talk enough about. Consider adoption, actually. Consider, you adopted. Really? Okay, I didn't know. We've never met, I promise. But
yeah, no, I did.
Everybody else, but I know that. You adopted.
I sure did.
So I think that our country, if you want to actually exercise charitable instincts, America First applies to the government. But if you in your life actually want to alleviate human suffering, that's one of the most beautiful things you could do. And I think adopting a child, especially for people who have the capacity, interest of raising or bringing more children into the world and bringing them up in a household as Americans, in that case, is a great way to do it. America also has a great tradition of philanthropy. We're one of the most philanthropic nations in the history of Earth, actually. There's no other nation with a greater culture of philanthropy than in the United States. And so there are many ways to exercise compassion for those who are suffering in other parts of the world or elsewhere, maybe born into families where they weren't able to be raised. Sound like you have actually been somebody. Thank you for also considering adoption as a path. But that doesn't mean that bringing those people through our government-ordained or NGO-ordained systems to the United States of America, that's not the right answer when we're actually, as public officials, looking after the citizens of our own country. And you said this, what are you going to do when I'm gone? Look, I'll make one promise to you. Promise I'll keep to you is I will look after whatever I believe is the right nonprofit cause to drive maximal positive change in Springfield, and I will follow through on that, even though my first attempt at that was thwarted. My commitment to you is I don't know what comes next for me after this next 50 days. We got a goal. But you know what? If we move to Springfield, Mayor, no, I promise you that we will do whatever we can to actually serve this country in the biggest way possible. I promise you that. I'll keep that promise, and our families fully.
So I hope that you guys got a little bit of understanding. I'm not going to play the whole thing because this goes on for another half an hour or so, and this video is taking longer than what I thought. But let me see what you guys are saying in the chat room. I appreciate everybody for coming out. I hope that it's understood that, Springfield is being labeled racist because they are having complaints about how they're being treated, and that's not fair. And if you're black, they're going to call you Islamophobic, xenophobic, I guess it's called, or a hater of yourself if you speak out. And that's just not cool to do. I'm trying to see, why is it that it's so hard for people to respect other people's viewpoint? If it's different from yours, you got to respect it though, and not bash or accuse people because they don't like how they're being treated. That's just not fair. And luckily, Springfield, Ohio is having the opportunity to speak to people that have position or looking to have some type of seat like Vivek did. He was trying to be a president. Who knows? He might try to be governor or mayor. He has opportunities or options that he could try to change things for real. It remains to be seen, but they still came out and Trump is coming to Springfield supposedly. So that's going to be very interesting. And I wonder how that's going to work with the Haitians now being fearful, how Trump is going to handle the Haitian factor once he comes to Springfield. It'll be very interesting to witness what he does when he gets there. I'm going to definitely upload a video or go live about that video. Four Rivers says, what does Springfield have to do with the Malcolm X said? What Malcolm? Everybody tries to say that we gotta be like Pan-Africans or something like that. I don't know if that's what Golden Brown is insinuating. Maybe she could clarify it more too, because I didn't get a chance to see what Golden Brown said. It's too far up. Elijah says younger people are just a reflection of the older generation. Okay. And Angel says, I'm me speaking facts. Billy says, Elijah, not what Kamala said. She said kids 18 to 15 are stupid. Wow. Ham says the war is eroding our ability to modernize our Navy and American future for safety for us in America. That does sound about right. You're right about all these wars that are happening. We don't have time to pay attention to what is going on with us, which is sad. And it's not good to be distracted all the time with other people's affairs. We're preoccupied with 2 wars and too many people in America. That's what it all boils down to. And my opinion is the climate, the conditions have been set in stone behind Biden and Harris. They need to be held accountable. They need to answer for what is happening in Springfield, what is happening in Chicago, what is happening in Colorado, what is happening all over the place, Alabama, and all the other places where people are complaining about these immigrants coming and oversaturating their resources. Dice Goblin says, exactly, they not help us, complain when we get into other issues, yet complain if we not help out. So what we supposed to do? Okay. Forrest Savage says Vivek is really smart and kind. He seems very genuine, like he does really care about what's happening to the people. Carnita or Kamarta says Billy to stop lying. She never said. I'm not quite sure what you mean. I do love Tulsi Gabbard as well too, Forrest Savage. Golden Brown said these people world is being destroyed like they destroyed my people, indigenous world. Okay, Angel says, I would love for everybody in the chat to see what Kamala Harris does to this mother and child in the clip I'm going to put in the chat. Okay, Forrest says, every person who doesn't know Tulsi has to go look her up. She is the literal best woman alive right now. I really like some of the things that she does say. I will give her that. I haven't watched too many recently of what she's been talking on, but maybe I should touch up on what she's talking about. She was the one that interviewed or gave a meeting with a town hall meeting with Trump recently. The Tar Heel says, I always said Tulsi was the best option when they picked Harris. Yeah, she would be an excellent option as president or vice president. She would be interesting. I think she tried to run for president before, but she is in support of Trump though. So for these times that we're in, Trump right now is the lead go-to in this regard. He has the ability to do something with that border and to solicit different things, different businesses to come back to America and help out with business sense in the economy. So I'm putting my bet on Trump. Menace says you tried it with Reagan, 2 of the Bush and Trump. How did that work out other than the financial crisis and a messed up pandemic? Well, look at us now. Menace, there's nothing positive that you can say about how Biden and Harris have been running around with all these migrants, and the economy really sucks right now. So what do you have to say about that? Elijah says Tulsi is a real woman and I would vote for her if she was a nominee. She actually cares and fought for the country. Yeah, I heard she was in the military somehow. Dice says, are you talking about the mom who got arrested for truancy even though she gave school the doctor's notes to show her doctor was sick? Her daughter, I know you're talking about, she had sickle cell or has sickle cell. And yes, she did give out her notice of why her child was sick, and still the truancy law put that mom in jail and gave her life a spin around behind what Harris had proposed. Four Rivers says, are you talking about something that happened a long time ago? Yeah, that did happen when she was a DA, I guess. All right. Four Rivers says Springfield, New York City, Chicago should all be saved from this invasion. Exactly. That's why they're trying to shut it down so hard, Forrest Savage says. Billy says that is a fact. I used to run apartments, and when we would evict them, they would grab their mattress and run to their friend's house. They live 20 plus deep. Wow. That's a lot. I could not imagine. Yes, I hope they get the mayor out too, Dice. All right. Four Rivers says we can't pick and choose what city should be saved from the immigrant crisis. All American cities should be saved. It's a little bit too late for Chicago, though, and I think it's too late for New York. It looks like it's getting pretty bad in Pennsylvania, Alabama, Ohio, probably California. Texas is bad. It's just bad all over, man. It's becoming like a rash that's growing. Forrest says we just need to solve this. This ain't ish compared to everything else going on. This is just bad because of how small the city is. I think it's more than just that. I think that the mayor has, like I said, a lot of explaining to do with him housing all these immigrants. It's a conflict of trying to put American first. 60K citizens and 15K immigrants, crazy. Exactly, Forrest. That is absolutely insane. I just lost my spot. Yes, please like and share and subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Billy says you want to stop this, close the damn border and take a number and do it right away. Take a number and vote November 5th. Billy says Carmetta was calling me a liar for saying what Kamala said about 18 to 15 years ago, young people. Yvonne says Springfield wanted to revitalize their dying town and invited companies to set up shop, but there wasn't enough people to work. That's why people have moved into Springfield. Forrest says, but only because you're making extraordinary, hateful generalizations. I don't know to who you're talking about. Okay, Tammy says you should take that tired argument somewhere else to Yvonne. You honestly think that dropping 20K in a town of 58K was done to fill jobs? It's to take over. And I know that people have a lot of sympathy and empathy for the Haitians because they have no fault of their own for being told to come on and come on down. So them taking on the opportunity to get out of Haiti, of course, they're going to want to go do. But now the situation is here and it's just a mess. Trickle-down economy does not work. That's what Yvonne says. I don't really know about economics. I'm not going to even play like I do. I read the news like everybody else, so I need to get more information about how that would work, what they talk about when they say trickle down, when they talk about the federal level, going down to, I guess, the county level. Some of the Springfield residents have said that they weren't offered jobs from the companies that came there. They gave preferences to the immigrants. They did. They sought them out, I think. They set it up. They have temporary services that were hiring them. Billy says, Forrest, I agree, but what is put forth, I have to vote Trump. Facts. Justin says, we have an unlimited defense budget. We aren't developing weapons for Ukraine. We aren't sending them billions in cash. We have, though, Justin. We're sending them retired equipment and ordnance that's almost expired. I don't know about that. How would you know that part, Justin? I don't know. Yvonne says, yes, look it up. All the companies that open business there will tell you that the Haitians do work. They show up to work. They work hard. Oh, yeah, they all are saying that. Every American should be outraged, CDKV says. We need to be feeling something by now because these news reports are coming out all over the place. Yes, but the Springfield residents have complained that the companies have not offered them the jobs, just the Haitians. Citizens should have been offered jobs first, Four Rivers says. Exactly, if that's the case. Forrest says you can live here and become better than everyone in the world through honest hard work. You can work honestly and solve problems. You can have integrity, or you can be poor or just go to jail. Yeah, I feel you. Now, I think that that's enough for the town hall meeting. You get the gist of what happened. As I said, at least people care what is going on in Springfield. They don't care so much of what's going on in Chicago and New York and other places. But here's a bombshell testimony of an ex-Border Patrol chief testifying at the Biden-Harris ordered media cover-up. I think that this video says a lot. I want to make sure that y'all get the gist of what they're doing with all these illegals.
Are you gonna vote? Will you ask people that you know to vote, please? And will you ask them to vote for me? Thank you.
This should be absolutely huge breaking news on every single major network, not just across the United States of America, here in our nation, but everywhere across the world. But you will not see this anywhere. This, my fellow Americans, is probably one of the most damning evidentiary confessions and testimony about the catastrophe that has become our southern border and our immigration policies over the last 4 years under Biden and now Kamala Harris I've ever witnessed. You absolutely need to share this. Tap the thumbs up to everybody you know. This is ex-Border Patrol Chief Aaron Heitke, I hope I'm saying that right, who says he was ordered to hide illegal aliens and what he terms SIAs, which are special interest aliens, from the media and cover up a border disaster by the Biden-Harris administration. I promise you, this is worth your time. This is worth every second. Please watch this.
Chairman, distinguished members, thank you for this opportunity. The only true consequence we have to slow down and discourage people from coming into the United States illegally is sending them back to their country of origin. Throughout the first 3+ years of this administration, I saw a steady decrease in the countries we could send people back to. For the first time in my 25 years, and under 5 different administrations, whether through neglect or on purpose, I saw a large-scale lapse in our ability to return people to their country of origin. The inability to send people home meant that most people being arrested for illegal entry would either have to be detained or released. The current administration, however, from day one, made a point of decreasing the amount of detention space available nationwide. Immigration and Customs Enforcement's funding for detention has steadily been cut and private detention eliminated. The fact that so many illegal aliens are being released into the United States spread worldwide very quickly. As this happened, the numbers the Border Patrol encountered illegally crossing the border increased exponentially. The impact to me and my agents were significant. Sectors were ordered to take in and process all the illegal aliens encountered on the border. The Border Patrol saw groups of hundreds and thousands coming into the United States and turning themselves in. These numbers pulled 80, 90, sometimes 100% of the agents on duty away from the border. Border Patrol zones across Texas, Arizona, and California had no agent presence for weeks and months at a time. Those who did not want to be caught could simply walk in. We have no idea who and what entered our country over this time. Throughout 2022 and 23, I sent agents to Texas and Arizona to count gotaways. Those sectors could not even put enough agents in the field to see what they'd missed. Simultaneously, in San Diego, we had an exponential increase in significant interest aliens. These are aliens with significant ties to terrorism. Prior to this administration, the San Diego sector averaged 10 to 15 SIA arrests per year. Once word was out the border was far easier to cross, San Diego went to over 100 SIAs in 2022, well over that in 2023, and even more than that registered this year. These are only the ones we caught. At the time, I was told I could not release any information on this increase in SIAs or mention any of the arrests.
Wow.
The administration was trying to convince the public there was no threat at the border.
Oh my God.
Fentanyl is another issue. The San Diego area sees between 80 and 90% of the methamphetamine and fentanyl seizures annually for our entire country. With little enforcement at the border, these drugs were coming through in mass. During my last year in San Diego, the price for a single pill of fentanyl, for example, went from $10 to 25 cents. To make matters worse, during 2022 and 23, I had to shut down San Diego traffic checkpoints, which are critical for drug interdiction, because the resources had been diverted to the process and release mission. The large numbers also had and still have a negative impact on the San Diego community. I had to release illegal aliens by the hundreds each day into communities who could not support them. To quiet the problem, 2 flights a week were provided from San Diego to Texas. These flights simply brought aliens that would have been released in San Diego over to Texas. Each flight cost approximately $150,000. This was the administration's way to try and quiet the border-wide crisis. Once these flights were stopped and the releases continued, California saw the true economic impact. I received calls from the governor's office, local mayors, and hospital administrators asking me if we could keep injured aliens in custody so the federal government would pay the medical bills. Through pressure from the administration, my headquarters became more interested in the fiction that being portrayed in the media and not at all concerned with reality. Each time we asked for help in dealing with a new issue, it fell on deaf ears.
Unbelievable.
At times in San Diego, we had 2,000 or more aliens sitting in between the fences, asking to turn themselves in. I was told to move them out of sight of the media.
Wow.
Meanwhile, Border Patrol agents are continually forgotten and neglected by the media and this administration. These agents deal with death, women and children that have been raped, abused, trafficked, bought and sold, families that have spent months in terrible conditions, sickness, and despair. If you look at the dramatic rise in the number of suicides within the Border Patrol, it is directly correlated with the migrant surge. The agents have been pushed beyond their limit, and this has greatly impacted their physical and mental health.
Wow.
While current numbers of aliens crossing our border are lower in comparison in recent months, there's a reason for this. After nearly 4 years, this administration finally started to ask Mexico for help in slowing down the traffic through their country. This and other actions make a difference, but why has it taken so long? All of these tactics were being used before this administration took office.
Only
this
for election purposes.
Stopped or greatly limited them.
That's the only reason.
I'm also concerned this will not be maintained. The problems we are facing at the border have solutions. These solutions can be quite simple and cost far less than the mess currently occupying so much time and money. The return to a policy of enforcing the law and returning illegal aliens to their home countries is required. Thank you.
Border Patrol agents are...
See, Border Patrol agents are committing suicide. All these aliens are allowed in on purpose. They have an agenda for them to vote, I believe. That's why Kamala does not care what happens to the residents, how they feel, if they're being evicted, if they're being discriminated against, if they're overwhelmed. She doesn't care. The only one that seems to really care is Trump. And I know that people want to put him in such a bad light, but he is the one that is speaking truth to all the things that's happening wrong in our country right now. So I would hope that with seeing this video that most people would understand that we have an issue with immigrants. Last but not least, the last video that I'm going to play, someone had to use their firearm at home to essentially save herself before she was taken out by one of these Venezuelan trendy Agawa member. Broke into her home and she used her gun, and ultimately the guy lost his life. But it's getting really, really bad out here. This is just a sample of what's to come, what's already here, and how bad off we are right now.
Broke into her home in the Austin neighborhood. This happened this morning on the 700 block of North Laramie. Police say 2 armed people broke into the home, found an armed woman inside. That led to a shootout where one of the offenders was fatally shot in the chest. No other injuries were reported. Police have not said what happened to the other offender. News now, there's been a deadly shootout that police say began as a home invasion on the west side. Investigators say 2 armed people forced their way into a residence in the 700 block of North Laramie. A woman inside the home who has a valid FOID card also produced a firearm, and there was an exchange of gunfire. One of the people breaking into the home was killed. Nobody else was hurt.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Rick.
But it's getting like that regularly now, and they're spreading all over the place. Because, again, these men weren't vetted. There ain't no telling how many are here, how many gang members are terrorizing the community now. But that case, at least the woman was able to defend herself in a timely fashion to prevent him from doing something to her. But most people can't do what she did, or are not prepared enough to do what she did, and they are going to succumb to this gang. And why I think Kamala doesn't care is because she wants the numbers. That's all she's considering, is who she can get somehow to be able to vote. It's just a matter of time when they challenge this notion that they need to be having access to have votes. And once they do, it's going to affect our vote. It's going to take away our vote. Each one that votes for Democrats, if we vote outside of that, they're mirroring our vote and canceling our vote. This is what I think that they desire to do ultimately. They want to stay in power so bad. They're so demonic and wicked to go this far, to allow all things and anything to happen and not be about Americans ever. So I've been sirening the call. I've been playing the trumpet near and far. Near and far. So we understand that it's an emergency going on right now. It's an emergency with this crisis with migrants. It's an emergency with the disrespect and being ignored. I cannot imagine how it feels to be in Chicago right now and be Black in one of those neighborhoods that's dealing with the gangs and all these people that just saturated your neighborhood one day. And they're causing ruckus and noise and making a mess and doing crime and all these things. And now there's a deficit in Chicago that they're going to have to deal with sometime soon. And the people are going to be the ones holding the bag hurting. It won't be the politicians. It won't be these nice speeches. It won't be nothing but pain to pay. And if the people cannot survive, they will have to leave Chicago. That's a real phenomenon I feel is about to happen in Chicago, New York, and other places. It's unfortunate that this is what it is, but no one cares about Americans but Trump. He's the only one now that's pinpointing all the different problems and letting us know flat out he's going to deal with each and every one of these problems. Who has stated that they are going to do more than what Trump says? Nobody. So I hope that we really take voting serious this time around. I know that there are a lot of people that are in denial, thinking that this is not as bad as it is. They're trying to say that I'm fear mongering. There was a couple of people a while ago that said I was fear mongering. I'm not fear mongering. I'm just showcasing what is going on today, right here and now. It is scary though. And we're the ones that have to put up with all these changes, whether we're ready or not. I just hope that we can nip this in the bud come November 5th and really, truly choose Trump. So with that being said, I'm going to play a couple of songs and then I'm going to go. I hope that you guys got something from the video. I do know that the people in Springfield were heard and they felt better with being heard by Vivek, even if he's not an official yet. It's better to bring attention and really show their grievances so that they could release some of that tension. But the Chicago Black women and that man that I showed in the last video, they did not get no relief and they probably won't. It's a crying shame that this is the situation that they're in. But that is the real situation, and Black people will be harmed the most because they're looking to put most of these people in Black neighborhoods first. They just happen to go to Springfield, which has more whites than Blacks, and they're the ones that's being addressed. So I really want us to think about that. As Black people, we really need to know that we really don't have a whole lot of people that have our back. And the only chance we have is to have somebody that is American first. And that somebody is Trump. So I'm going to play a song by Shalimar called Heartbreak. This is old school, better than music that's on the radio these days. But I'm going to play that. Let's get going.
Now open all the wounds I created. The shadow of the face of my lady in his arms. I'm someone special. She tells me this and everything seems fine. Then it's just too much. With all the guys in the band smile each time she walks by. But when she kisses me and starts to love me, I forget all the rest. When I'm feeling this good, all I'm thinking is that I'm lying here with the best. I settle for a heartbreak. I can't believe the pain that it makes. I can't believe the strength that it takes. And crawl up for the wounds I've created this way. You're heartbreak. I better change the plans that I make. I'm messing with the wrong kind of lover. I can't believe that I'm just a guy on the side. I just can't seem to shake it. I just can't break the rules. My heart is a very special part of me. All I can see is a heartbreak. It's too late this time. Is she serious? I'm just not sure. I'll take my chances tonight. But will I regret it? What will I feel when it's too late to cry? I gotta be on my best behavior and stop giving into this feeling. If you finally find one that means more than the other, I'll be too used up to try. I'll settle for heartbreak. I just wanted to love you, baby. But you know that it's too late to cry. And then you ask yourself why you're having heartbreak. Oh, baby. Oh, sugar. Open all the wounds I created. The shadow of your face is in his arms. Oh, God. Heartbreak. What's the sound of brilliant heartbreak? Too late this time. Too late this time. It's too late this time.
Next, I'm gonna play "Closer to My Dreams." I don't know how to pronounce the name. Is Go Apelo, something like that. But "Closer to My Dreams." I love this song. Please like and share the video and subscribe. Thank you.
Closer to my I'm getting high, closer to my dream. I'm getting higher, higher, feeling my sleep.